Hey, hey. Hi, Lambden and Cindy. How you guys doing? Oh, I got a message on my phone. Um,
Just so everybody is on the same page, Gina is actually on call tonight.
yeah.
So if she gets a phone call and takes it, you're stuck with the second string. So just letting everybody
Your
know.
second string? Is that new?
No, they're stuck with the second string. Me,
Are you second string?
when it comes to running this,
Oh,
yeah.
true, true. Hi,
Yeah.
Jesse and Paul. Hola, bienvenidos. We're just going to chill for just a few minutes before we get started, just so everybody has time that's going to join, can join for the topic at the top of the hour.
Yeah. We'll start there and then see where it morphs into.
Yeah, so I may have to take a call. It's been a kind of a crazy week for me at work so far. Actually, this is the second crazy kind of week. But I'm on call now in addition to that. So now it's like doubly crazy.
Yep. Hola,
Hey,
Andrew and
Andrew.
Terry and Lisa, Jesse.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Um, hey,
What?
we're going to be going to the beach in North Carolina to see our granddaughter.
And daughter, and I mean, it's
And one of our daughters is
Yeah,
just going to kind of show up and crash the party. It was supposed to be a trip with just me and a granddaughter, but then it was kind of like, well, it's a beach house. It's not cheap. And our granddaughter hasn't seen him for a while either. And she hasn't seen her aunt for a while. So why not? I think it's a good idea.
yes, Jesse. That was ugly.
Oh, the UNC game. Yeah, let's pull that up real quick. It was pretty sad. And you know what? And the Jayhawks didn't do much better. So,
It's one of those that appropriate ending, because we saw that same type of game all year long. It was like, yeah, dig that big hole, try and get out of it, and then
Hey, Indian land. Hola, Tom. Night, guys. I can't talk. I'm so sorry. I can't talk. I'm just tongue tied and twisted today.
just a misfit.
Yep, you know the rest.
Yeah.
So, Indian land. Boom. Wilfredo, hello. And Duke, baby. Oh no. Oh no. You shan't say that name here. No.
It's a 4-letter word. They're the last shot for the ACC, and it's one of those going, hey, I hope they go a long way, because that way everybody gets paid a little more out of it. So
guess who I picked to win the whole thing?
Mm-mm.
What?
I know you did, but no, I can't type those. I can't type those 4 letters. No, we do a family pool, and
hey, John Hayes,
it was one of those where
thank you for joining.
We do a different type of pool. We actually do. You pick one number 1 seed, one number 2, one number 3, one number 4, so on, all the way down through 16, and you get 1 point for a first round win, 2 points for a second round win, and all the way through. So, and I think we've got, I don't know, close to 24, 25 people playing. And so far, only 4 out of the family are totally eliminated. So, and one of them is 8.
I don't know. Anyway. Hi, John Hayes. As I was saying, welcome to the channel. It's very nice to have you here tonight. But it's March Madness, and Mark is a sports nut, so that's going to make topics of conversation for sure. I could take it or leave it.
But tomorrow is opening day.
When I pick my teams for March Madness, I know very little about any of them. I will pick somebody if they're a team I'm familiar with. I will pick somebody if I like their name. Like I will pick Gonzaga every year, just because I like saying Gonzaga.
Well, and typically that's not a bad pick. This year just sort of was like, okay. But
I have absolutely no knowledge about any of these teams. They just have cool names. I picked them.
yes, Andrew, Gina picked Duke. So
I did pick Duke. I picked Duke because of the way his family does it. So there's only 4 number ones, and Duke was one of them. So that's the one I picked.
I went with Florida.
Now, if the Heels would have been a number 1 pick against Duke, I probably would have picked the Heels. But I did pick the Heels
Not
where
this
they were.
year.
I picked them where they were this year, and I picked Jayhawks where they were this year, and guess what? They both got eliminated. So I had a pretty bad first round. Just saying. Hey, so what beach y'all going to? Well,
Topsail Island.
Topsail Island, Surf City.
Yep.
We did do one video way at the very beginning that it was our favorite vacation beach spot. And we like to get a house right on the beach. And that's what I did.
Yep.
That's what I did. My favorite activity, honestly, when we're there is to go surfing for shark teeth. I searched all the beach looking for shark teeth. And I've got some pretty nice ones, but I'm looking for the ever so elusive giant ones, which I don't, obviously there's not that many of them. So,
Yeah, Lambden, that's, I couldn't pick UCLA because they even lost to Carolina. And that was like, okay, that's a kiss of death this year. So I'm, it was like, but I think the hardest part is, not that this is let's talk about sports, but I think the hardest part is with these coaches nowadays, every year it's a brand new team. I mean, we've already lost at Carolina. 2 have entered the transfer portal. I think 3 or 4 have graduated. And it's just one of those where you just go, okay. And, my mom is a huge KU fan, not UK, KU, the Jayhawks. And, it's one of those, she really was disappointed this year because, they're used to winning the Big 12 and they didn't do diddly.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. And so here's one more. You get one more sports talk.
Yeah, there's only one problem with that. The Big East doesn't bring football. And that's, that's the big money maker, and that's the gorilla in the room. And that's why you have, I'm worried about the future of the ACC after 2036, which, I may not have to worry about. But, that's going to be once those rates to leave drop way down, the SEC and the Big Ten, they're going to be looking at, Florida State and Clemson and Carolina. And, I'm sorry, I've grown up with the ACC, and that's, I hated it when South Carolina left. I hated it when Maryland left. And I don't like it now because I can't keep track of who the hell's where anymore.
And I never knew any of it. Okay, so this sounds really cool, Jesse. And I think that would be a whole lot of fun to see all these little dogs just zooming all over the beach. We did one time take our dog once. Boy, that poor pup was so full of sand. Oh my gosh.
He wasn't a beach fan.
No, he wouldn't go in the water, but he did chase his stick. But of course, he did have sand all through him.
Oh,
that was quite a mess.
Yeah,
but it was nice having him there still. And hola, Cleia.
Yep.
And buenas noches. Good to see you. Thank you for coming.
She's from Detroit.
Really?
Yep.
Whoa.
We'll be up in your neck of the woods
right.
come June.
Hey there. Nice to see you guys back.
Yep.
Family Kendrick. Really cool. Should we get started?
Might as well.
All right, we might as well. We got 10 minutes in. So today's start off topic, driving in Mexico.
Well, it's sort of traveling through Mexico. I mean, driving is part of it, but the whole how we plan and the driving and
really.
Well, yeah, because driving is important, but also
I thought it was all about the driving.
No,
that's what I was led to believe.
No, and doing the proper planning as far as when you look at a trip, because if we look at a trip and we go, it's going to take us 14 hours, we automatically know that's a 2-day trip because.
Well, that's true.
I mean,
well, let's run down the hard rules.
Okay.
The big hard rules. Now, rule number 1, you never travel at night if you can avoid it.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of reasons for it. And it may not be what you think. It's not necessarily because you're in danger of somebody doing something horrible to you.
But that does increase at night, but
but predominantly there's a lot of factors that go into that, like Topes, lack of lighting on the roads, animals, potholes that can swallow your car, no guardrails on sharp corners,
and also not only that, the road sometimes just cuts away. I mean, on the side, and we're not talking, no shoulder, we're talking 6-foot drop. So if you were to miss and drive off on that, you're not breaking an axle. So, I mean, there's just, it's fraught with a lot of bad things. And we've driven some roads, Highway 178, and I hate to even say highway because that was not a highway.
It was like the surface of the moon.
Oh my God, it was bad. And, but and that was just a small road in the state of Veracruz because they had the carretera was closed the day before. And it literally was one of those that where it was closed, if we had driven it, we were going to drive over, get to the carretera, get down, and then we would have had to have turned around, driven right back to where we started and gone back down and then taken 178 over. And we would have wasted about 5 hours. So it was one of those they did not know whether or not it was going to be closed again. That was a Saturday. So we went, you know what? We're just going to have to go the slower route. But if it takes us 3 hours to do it that way, we're not wasting 5 hours to find out, oh, they closed the carretera. So, True. Paying attention to what is happening in your route and things like that. And, just because it shows up on the map and has a number doesn't mean it's going to be a good road.
No,
it was,
that particular road was.
Thank God there was a taxi
in
front of us. And he was going from the right-hand shoulder to the left-hand shoulder, back and forth consistently, avoiding the holes. And I was right in his wheel tracks because it was like, he knows this road better than I do. So, he's going left, I'm going left. But we've hit that same problem when we drove from San Cristobal to Huatulco. We hit that one section of road. And I felt like we were doing a ski slalom because the potholes were so bad, and it was
pretty bad.
This.
I mean, they were like, if we had hit one with the tire, we probably would have damaged the car in some way.
Yeah,
and were pretty bad.
And so it was a constant, look up ahead, make sure nobody's coming, zip over into that lane for a little bit to get away from some of the potholes over here. I mean, and I wasn't the only one doing it. That's just that was the common practice on that road.
And that's daytime.
That was daytime.
So now imagine if this was at night. That really, nighttime driving is the biggest thing you need to avoid for those reasons. I mean, we were on a paid road, a toll road, and was it a dead cow? Was it a horse or a cow? There was one standing and one dead on the side of the road.
Those were cows.
Cows.
That was going from Saltillo to Aguas Calientes, and that drive right there. It was first full day in Mexico, just the two of us in the car, and we were just going, being blown away by the beauty of what we were encompassing here and taking it all in. And just like Wilfredo says right here next, that was a drive that we literally went over 2 hours.
This one.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, about gas.
2 hours and no gas.
No gas.
So another one of the things that the hard rule is when it gets to, depending upon where we're driving, But when it gets to a half a tank, we are stopping to get gas.
Yep.
Now, case in point, Saltillo to basically Zacatecas, because once you got to Zacatecas, it was a little more populated from Zacatecas to Aguas Calientes. But that drive from Saltillo to Zacatecas is barren, and so for some of us, I don't know which was more important, the gas or the baño, but it was like, okay, you're not going to find either one very very often. So,
and like, even if you're in a populated city, like we were in Querétaro the first time around, and I took the car by myself to the grocery store, and it was daylight when I got into the store, but it was nighttime when I got out, and there was very, very little lighting. And it was kind of scary. I pretty much creeped my way home because I'm worried about animals. I'm worried about people. I'm worried about topes.
and that was only going from El Refugio up to Zakia.
Yeah, there's no street
and the
lights.
hardest part there is you also, the landmarks that you use for navigation.
Yeah.
Well, for some of us anyway. Knowing, okay, there's the La Comer, there's the KFC, because I pay attention to what's that way. I know I'm on the right road.
I don't. One time though, in that same area, he was driving and we didn't see a tope and hit it at 45 mile per hour
at night. Coming back from Juanjo.
And see, so sometimes even in the daytime, some of the topes aren't really marked. You can see them if you're paying very good attention, but not always painted yellow or bright.
And what you find is, after you've hit one at 45, if you see a shadow going across the road, you start braking for the shadow because you're like, I'm not doing this again. And then,
one thing we learned this on our trip from Chiapas to Huatulco, that if there is a stand, any kind of business where they're selling something, chances are there's a tope right there.
Yep.
That was helpful. Oh, look, there's a fruit stand coming up. Look for the tope.
If somebody's selling tamales, if somebody's selling, a small fruteria, if it's sitting there on the side of the road, you can almost bet that's where the tope is going to be located, because people got to slow down. Okay, well, it makes it easy for them to get a chance to talk to people. So
let me back up just a minute so we can catch a couple of these comments. If you want to make another comment about sports, because I don't watch anything. I watch football. That's about it.
Yeah, I happened to see pro volleyball was on because it was on the channel that I was looking for, the Canes, and noticed that was on. So yeah, but I was looking for the Canes, so I didn't stay there.
And here's a good one from Andrew. You guys ever feel unsafe driving through the middle of Mexico? Well, I can't say that I have felt unsafe.
Driving? No. No, I don't think I've ever really had an instance where I've had like a spidey sense go off. Had there been times in some of the cities looking for, Aguas Calientes, that first night on our own in Mexico, and we go, I had a list of, we stay in the Auto Moteles. And anybody doesn't know what the Auto Motel, those are the sex motels. That's, but they have garages.
The no-tell motels.
The no-tell motel, Holiday Inn, but, I go through and I use the website Auto Moteles de Mexico, and I find through Google the top rated ones. Typically now, after 2.5 years, I have figured out that normally the most expensive ones are also going to be the top rated ones.
And they're not that expensive.
Then they're not that expensive. We're talking, oh, this one's going to charge you 800 pesos for the night. I think the most we paid was in Monterrey at Kyoto, and that still might be the nicest one we've stayed in.
Mhm.
And that one was 1,000 pesos for the night. And so, $50.
And they're
The-
nicer. They're nicer than a Motel 6. They're nicer than a Comfort Inn.
Yeah, I mean, the night before we were at the Comfort Inn in McAllen, Texas, and we paid 160. And the very next night we're in Monterrey, Mexico, got a cleaner room with a garage, didn't have to unload the car and everything else, and we paid 50. Now we had to deal with the fact that there were headlights that, we had the curtains pulled, but you could see down below the headlights were out there till 4 a.m. because the people were in line to knock boots in the room, and they're waiting for people to leave the rooms, and is what it is.
It is what it is. Hi,
Hola,
Terry. We did a Dukes of Hazzard, Andrew. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Boy, stuff went flying in the car too. That was scary. I thought we broke an axle, or who the heck knows. I was really worried about it, but we were okay, luckily. So, and Alfredo, hola. Greetings from KC, back in the States, working on citizenship. Wow. All right. That sounds good. Good luck with that. Yeah, and exactly. The Tope I hit was not marked either. See, I don't know if this one was marked, but if it
wasn't. No, it was.
If it was, the paint was worn.
No, it wasn't. It was on that brand new road that wound up the hill from Zakia to Zibata, and they had not painted that. Now, and we have seen this in some localities and municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is out there painting
on their own, citizens,
and painting the topes, and they'll have a cup or a jar or something,
yep,
and they'll hold it up, and and I'm all for it. You're going to paint a tope, I'll donate, because I'd rather be able to see it.
Yep.
Driving from where we are here in Querétaro to the Querétaro airport, there's some doozies on that one as well. And the last time I flew out, I overslept by only 1 hour and was trying to bust it to get to the airport, but I'm also trying to be cognizant of not doing the Tope fly
in the dark,
because it was, I was supposed to get up at 2 o'clock, and it rolled over and looked, it was 2:54, and I was out the door. Fortunately, I had everything already taken care of. It's just throw the clothes on, boom, go. And I was out the door at 3:05, and I had a 5:14 flight. And it's a 30-minute drive from here to the airport. So, and I was trying to make it maybe in a little less.
And yes, we've noticed this, and it can be on long roads that literally have no houses or business for miles. And then all of a sudden you'll see this little stand. It could be a fruit stand. It could be a taco stand,
souvenirs,
whatever. It could be anything. They're selling ceramics, and almost always, and they're in the middle of nowhere. But here's this stand. They are very, very, very clever. They know people have to slow down for that tope, so they set their stand right there. Yes, smart.
Yeah,
it is. Okay. How is toll pay different in Mexico from major U.S. cities? Are they manned by people or equipment?
Both. I think even the ones that take the passe.
Well, it's not just passe, but a transponder.
The transponder, because we have the transponder, but even the lanes that take the transponder also will take cash
because they're mixed use.
Yeah.
They'll have cash only lanes, but then they'll have mixed use lanes. I haven't yet seen a transponder only lane, but maybe they're there. They might be.
One of the things that was different now, Yucatan transponder don't work.
Not the one we had.
Not the one we have.
Right.
We got ours in outside of Monterrey, and
it's worked everywhere except for
everywhere but the Yucatan Peninsula. Yucatan Peninsula was like, all right, Mark, dig in your pocket because you're gonna be paying cash.
Yeah.
But the only place that we've had where it was different as far as not manned was coming from Puebla to Querétaro. And at the beginning of it, we got the ticket.
Oh yeah.
And I
Yeah.
I pulled up and I saw the car in front of me get a ticket. And so I'm getting there and I'm pushing the button, pushing the button, pushing the button, and no tickets coming out. And I didn't even look in front of me because it raised the gate because it saw the transponder and was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we'll record the transponder." And finally, this nice young man from the National Guard comes over and he sort of looks at me and then he points inside at the transponder. He goes, "Es bueno." Ah, gracias, senor.
Dumbass gringo.
But and the people behind me are going, "What the hell is this idiot waiting on?"
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they were saying a whole lot of other things too.
Well, yeah.
But so you typically pay cash right on the spot if you don't have a transponder. I don't know if they have like toll by mail. Like I know, like in Texas, for example, you go down their road, you don't even know you're getting a toll, and then they send you mail, no matter what state you live in, like 4 weeks, 5 weeks later, and you owe them. So I don't know if they do that here in Mexico, and I doubt it. If they do, they probably put some kind of lien or something on your plate, and then when you go to renew, you probably have to pay. Kind of like how they do some of their camera speed tickets.
Well, they do it down here. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you owe tickets and they do have speed cameras, if you owe tickets and you go to renew your license plate and you got the tickets,
got to pay the tickets first.
Pay the tickets first.
And then you can get your plate renewed. They'll just add it all together. So
Yep.
you'll have the tickets and then the plate fee all together.
Yep.
So you could be surprised that it may be much higher than you thought it was going to be, but that may be because the camera caught you speeding at some point. And they really don't notify you.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. They don't have a mail system here, which,
well, they do, but
they don't use it.
They don't really use it.
So you're sort of, they just sit it in limbo and it happens all the time because you don't know.
You don't know. And as people like us who don't have a plate registered here, who knows how many times they caught us speeding through something. They're never going to get us. We're never going to pay. They don't have any way of letting us know. I don't know how they would handle that.
No, and South Dakota hadn't tacked anything on. So, I mean,
no. But there's that. So as far as the tolls go, I would say that if you don't pay, they probably have a camera recording. Of course, the gate's not going to come up anyway. So I don't know what will happen there. Cash.
Well, no, there was a story of the spring breakers who ran a car in the Yucatan who didn't have pesos on them. They had American dollars. They did not have pesos. They ran into on their way up going to go see Chichen Itza, and they hit that toll from right outside of PDC there, and it's like 323 pesos. And they sat and sat and sat and sat and sat, and fortunately, or finally, and fortunately for them, somebody finally went, "This is ridiculous," and went up and paid it for them.
Oh,
because
that's nice.
They did not have, they didn't have the pesos and they didn't take dollars. So it was
they should have just taken the dollars and said, "Sorry, no cambio." Be done.
Well,
that's what I would have done. Why back up traffic? What do you think these kids are going to do?
No, the toll people. Nope.
That's what I mean. Yeah. They should have just taken the US dollars and been done with it. No big deal. So you have cash, and then of course you have these transponders, and there's more than one type. We have the Pase, and Oxxo sells them.
Yep.
And I think they might cost 200 pesos to actually buy the actual transponder.
It was very inexpensive.
And then you load money right there at the Oxxo. We always put like 1,000 pesos on, and then let it run down.
And one of the things is, just to give anybody an idea, like going from, we'll do a fairly long one, going from Tulum all the way to Tuxtla Gutierrez.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we broke that up into 2 overnights because it was, first of all, we had to pack the car. So it's like, okay, we lose half a day packing the car. So it was like, we don't want to drive past. My cutoff is I like to look for where we're going to stop between 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because That way, if something happens, we still have daylight to find, a place to stay. And so to do that, leaving, I think we left at like 10 o'clock, something like that. So I was like, you know what, we're just going to go to Merida. We'll spend the night in Merida. Then we went from Merida to Villahermosa, and from Villahermosa went to Tuxtla Gutierrez. What we do is I actually look online, and Google will tell you the amount of tolls that the route that you have chosen is going to cost you. And so that way I can tell her, okay, we're gonna spend, $50, 1,500 pesos, but half of that was going to be in the Yucatan, which means it's not coming off the Tope, it's coming out of the wallet. So, I had to pay cash for that. So basically, do we have 1,000 pesos on the Tope? And she's like, yeah, okay, we're good.
So tolls can be expensive. They can be expensive. Definitely higher than what you anticipate you're going to pay in the United States. But the purpose of those tolls, so they say, is to keep the roads nice, to have emergency service if you need it. They do have lighting on parts of those roads, so they're a little bit more visible. So in general, they are roads of better condition. They're not always perfect, and they're not always necessarily better than the free roads. But
the road may be great. Don't count on the exit being that way.
No.
That happens quite frequently where we're cruising along, 60, 70 miles an hour, and GPS in Mexico is a little slow in telling us where to get off.
It's
and all
not
of a sudden,
good.
all of a sudden, Gina's like, we got this exit.
There it is. Bye.
And you're cutting over to it. And we had one where the car actually was raised and shifted because of the movement trying to get onto this. So it's, you can't count on that.
So the toll roads, they basically, the toll booth area works the same as it does everywhere else. It's just a matter of try to have as close to the amount as you can without making them have to make change. Mexico's got this horrible habit of all the ATMs giving you 500 peso bills.
And they hate getting them.
And nobody wants those 500 peso bills.
Except you very rarely have a problem in an OXXO.
But
you walk in an OXXO with a 500 and they just go.
You walk into a tienda, a neighborhood tienda, no.
Yeah.
It would have to be a pretty big box store like H-E-B, Walmart.
If you want to use a 500, then you better spend close to 500 because that's,
So they especially don't like to see 500 at the toll booth because now they got to make change. And we have had to do that once or twice and they weren't happy. The look that they gave was just...
I did it once just because I wanted to break it because I wanted us to have some change.
Yeah.
I just keep the wallet out of sight and held the thing up there. So
what you say about driving at night is true, but it might be better to say be more careful driving at night.
Yeah, that is true. I mean,
that is true.
And we say we don't drive at night just because that is, and we do if it's a route that we know.
If we're familiar with the area.
Right.
So whenever we're doing our moving between city to another city, we generally do not know the area and we don't want to be stuck out somewhere trying to find our way to a place we've never been.
Yeah.
So we really do try to not travel at night.
That's our,
when
we were traveling city to city rule is that, we want, when the sun is going down, we want to be in the auto motel already
you want to kind of at least be able to see where you are when you're not familiar with the route. And the perfect example of that is when we moved to Puebla and we got stuck on a highway for 4 hours because there was a major accident that they were trying to clean up. And so that put us so far behind schedule that by the time we arrived in Puebla, just like we just said, we're in a place we don't know. It's dark. We have no idea where we're going. And now we're trying to navigate everything in dark with headlight glare in your face and everything else. It's not easy.
And, we missed a couple turns because, it was one of those where hit the Glorieta and GPS goes, keep straight.
Yeah, right.
Which damn exit? First, second, third.
Yeah.
Tell me,
Yeah.
keep straight. And so what I thought was straight and what GPS thought was straight were not the same thing.
Well, we added like 15, 20 minutes to our travel to the Airbnb because of that.
Yeah.
During where we are now, we will frequently go to El Pueblito where our friends live,
Mm-hmm.
and we will drive either there when it's getting dark, or sometimes we have driven back at 4 o'clock in the morning. It hasn't been an issue except trying to navigate a couple of exits that.
And now we've found the most
Yeah.
direct route, and it's like not a problem.
No, as long as you're familiar.
Yeah, I mean,
know.
familiarity is the biggest thing. And when we don't have it, that's when we try to go. No, we need daylight if we possibly can get it.
More on the volleyball. I'll let you handle that one, honey.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, that they do. Playa, that whole area down there is really, I mean, they got a PGA event there. Now they've also got one over in PV. So, there's a lot of things now that are suddenly starting to become regular stops on whether it's golf, volleyball, tennis. The F1 now comes to Mexico City. So it's I think that the NFL is going back to Mexico City again this year. And I think if I remember right, they just announced that the NBA, the Spurs were going to be playing both in Monterrey and in Mexico City next year. So,
So we're going to say hola to Mark and Paulette, who've come on, and to Stephanie. Hola, Stephanie. And Mark Balder. Let's pop you up here real quick. Hi, Mark. Last week here, driving in Mexico is always an adventure for sure. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Stick to the tollways when you can. Money is well worth it. And why is this well worth it? Well, the roads are maintained more frequently, so they tend to be in better conditions. And they will be lit more often than the non-toll roads are. They're not always totally lit.
You tend not to have the sneak up tope occur on you as well. And
if you run out of gas, if you have an accident, if you need help, they've got people who are paid to do just that. And they come.
You avoid going right through the middle of every pueblito.
That's true too. And chances are you're probably going to avoid the cows and the horses and the pigs.
Well, for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. Dead cow on the side of the road, guys. I still don't know how that cow. Maybe the cow got hit by a truck. I don't know. That was just something.
We'll see Mark and Vicky in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. But let me go. So that's the road conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about the stuff that is not stationary, that you can't predict what's going to happen. Other drivers.
Wow.
Okay.
That regardless what road you're on.
Right. Yeah. So one thing you have very consistently are people on mopeds and motorcycles. And
white lining.
They white line here, and they do it everywhere. In the city, on the highway, on your left, on your right, in between vehicles where there really is hardly any room for them. They do it all over the place. So that's one thing you always have to watch for. If you make a lane change and they're in your blind spot, somebody, when we first got here, they called them road rubber, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Road rubber.
That was Romy when we were going to have dinner with her and Lee's that time. And that occurred on Avenida Universidad here in Querétaro. And, when you're driving, you literally have to pay attention to 360 degrees constantly.
The other type of driver that it blows my mind they do this, but they do, is the person who's coming up on your right and they need to make a left-hand turn. So they turn sideways, literally in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell? There they are. I got to tell you, that makes me panic. That makes me panic because I had my driver's license about this long when I first got it. I was a freshman in college, and I didn't even have the actual license yet. I still had the permit that had been stamped by the officer who graded and passed me for my driving test. And I'm driving in Indiana, Pennsylvania. Now, if you know Indiana, Pennsylvania, the roads are very, very narrow.
Mhm.
You get a couple trucks side by side, I don't know how they fit. And there's 2 lanes in 2 directions, and there's no median. And I'm on the inside lane, and this elderly man pulls up. He had his left-hand turn signal on like he was going to merge into my lane, but he wasn't merging. And I'm like, oh, he must have the wrong signal on because there's an exit coming up on the right. No, he literally turned, literally perpendicular right in front of me and stopped because he was making a U-turn to the other side of the road. I T-boned him in a big Buick LeSabre. I pushed that man so hard that his car was literally spun all the way around, and the 2 of us are sitting passenger door to passenger door, just looking at each other. And he rolls down his window and he says, "Do you have any damage?" I wanted to cry. What I really wanted to say is, how the hell do I even know that? And what the hell are you doing?
But you see that
I was terrified.
You see that occur.
Yeah.
People will be in the left-hand lane on the carretera, and the exit comes, and no qualms about shooting all the way across, and turning left from the right-hand lane.
Mm-hmm.
And probably the most nerve-wracking are glorietas that are heavily traveled.
Oh yeah.
Because
anywhere, even in Europe.
I mean, it's like if you've ever driven through the Champs-Élysées, and you get there, it was it 5 points, 7 points, whatever.
Oh God, I think the Champs-Élysées has 11 or 12 roads coming into the roundabout, and I think the roundabout is 4 or 5 lanes deep.
Yeah, and but we have one right here, and just this morning I had to make a quick run to the store, and have to go around the roundabout 3/4 of the way, go up, and do another roundabout to come back to get to the store, and get up there, and I'm in the roundabout, and I'm on the inside lane coming across, and the bus just goes. Because stop signs are optional. I mean, I'm just telling you that, stop lights, they will pull you. Stop signs, I almost never see anybody. I see them slow down, but come to a stop.
No, here in Mexico, if you actually stop, they will honk their horn behind you because they're not expecting you to stop.
No.
They're only expecting you to stop if you actually have to and you see somebody coming and you have to give right of way.
Right.
But if you actually stop, you're probably, especially in San Luis Potosí.
Well, San Luis Potosí, you're going to hear a horn no matter what.
There's just like some certain cities where they have very impatient drivers. They're going to honk. They will honk the horn at you if the light's about to turn green and you haven't started moving yet. So stop signs are optional. And yeah.
Now, that being said, if you get pulled by a cop, I don't recommend saying, well, Gringos R Us said I could run the stop sign because they're optional. No. I don't think that's going to help your case.
No.
Just
always err on the side of caution. If you don't know the area and you're not, just stop. But
what the basic way I treat it is I watch the cars in front of me. If they slow down a little bit but keep rolling, I'm going to slow down a little bit and keep rolling. Like in Centro, in Querétaro here, uno a uno, it's everybody stops one way, 1 and 1.
Not always.
You can't, I know, but you can't see around the corner.
Mm-mm.
Those I stop at just because it's like, taxis sort of think that the uno a uno applies to everybody but a taxi. That was the case in Oaxaca.
Yeah, so they may run those regardless of the uno y uno. So, and then, of course, besides the stops and the people who make turns in front of you, how about the people who double park on the side of the highway and then all of a sudden just pull right out?
Seen it, have it,
Happens all the time.
Yep.
People who, well, the double park in other scenarios too. It's the same idea, and then they just pull out.
But
Yep.
As much as we've talked about some of the idiot things that do occur, and you know, you just have to be aware of them.
Yeah, just be aware. That's all.
The common way of driving is if somebody's coming up on you and they are going faster than you, you pull off on the shoulder.
Well, you don't have to pull off.
But not pull off, but you just pull over
just
and give them a little
over
bit of extra room, and
so they can go around.
And if they are going to pass you, they will put their left-hand turn signal on to let you know that, hey, I'm coming up, I'm going to pass. And so you sort of slide over on the little bit of the shoulder and give them some extra room. And we've had this occur with many trucks as we've gone from city to city. You know, get behind a trucker and he'll start out over on the shoulder trying to give us room to pass, and then he pulls back out. Well, the first time he's doing, I'm like, what is this dipshit doing? I'm ready trying to pass him. What they're actually doing is they're telling you it's not safe to pass.
It's not safe right now.
That there's vehicles coming, and sure enough, here comes some vehicles.
Yep.
And you just stay with him, and then all of a sudden, you know, he puts his right-hand turn signal on, pulls over, and he's now telling you, yep, you're now clear to go around.
Is he putting his right hand? I thought he moved over and he puts his left signal on to let you know that you can go around.
He puts his right hand on to let us know that he's moving over, that it's now time for us to be able to go.
I think I've seen both.
Well,
but regardless, it's the movement of the vehicle on the highway is your indicator.
And the other common sense thing they do down here that is the most brilliant thing is they use their emergency flashers.
Oh, yes. Regularly. Even in just city traffic.
If you come up and things start to slow down, they just turn the flashers on to let everybody behind them know, hey, we got to slow down up here.
Yeah.
And everybody just sort of turns their flashers on, and now everybody knows, okay, hold on, we're in a little bit of a, you know, embattlement, which is a traffic jam. Well, think about it, embattlement. So that is, you know, their way of letting everybody else know, hey, I'm not being a pain in the butt. You know, I'm slowing down because everything in front of me. You know, and when we were in that one from Oaxaca to Pueblo, where we took an hour to go the length of an OXXO parking lot, you know, people started turning them off because, well, actually people were getting out of their cars, going and sitting on the guardrail, lighting up a smoke, going, I've got plenty of time, you know, and so that I get, but they use them regularly to let people know what's going on.
So I'm going to hit a couple questions here,
and
then we'll get back to the road stuff. Here we go. Hey, JD. One of the main reasons I moved to Cozumel at 67 is so I don't have to drive at all in my little 10 block.
San Miguel, that's a cute little downtown. It is.
Cozumel.
And the name of the town in Cozumel is San Miguel.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it is cute. Sorry. No, we never considered it just simply because of the fact that it was an island. I even said Isla Mujeres would have been really great to live at. I liked it a lot there. It's very laid back, but because it's an island and everything has to get shipped over there, it costs a little bit more.
Well, and the other thing we were worried about, it was hard to find a good Airbnb for us because we did look when we had that, you know, mess up in Campeche, we were looking at Cozumel going, okay, hey, we can go to Cozumel, you know, and no, you know.
But it was cute. Okay, Jesse, what do you use for GPS? So we don't have a Garmin. We use predominantly Google Maps.
Yep.
I have tried a couple times to use Waze, and I was dissatisfied with it. Google Maps works most of the time, but the problem with Google Maps is that, number one, the Google voice trashes the Mexican directions in Spanish language really bad. Like Tequisquiapan is Tequiscalpan, for example.
Sometimes. And then sometimes it's something even more different.
And sometimes instead of just saying the word, all the letters get spelled out. Like
that
in
happened
Merida.
in Merida at a chocolate factory. And the first time it was like after, and it spells out the entire name, turn right. Well,
now we're past that.
We're past that now because it took so long.
It's the Google Voice isn't as quick as it needs to be with some of the turns. So sometimes you end up missing the turn. So you really, really, really have to pay attention to the map as you're approaching, regardless of what the voice says.
Yeah, the biggest advantage or tip I can give about the Google map is that I do like is it says, okay, in 2.3 kilometers, we're going to be going to the left. So I know, if it's 3 or 4 lanes, don't be all the way over in the right. I need to be in one of the 2 middle lanes, preferably the left middle lane, and pay attention to what it's telling you, what's coming up.
Well, and then it wants to say things like slight right and slight left when all it needs to say is merge.
Yeah, it gets that really confused. Yeah. I mean, especially merging onto traffic. If you're coming up in the exits coming from the right and you're going on, it'll say slight right. And it's like, no, I'm actually turning the wheel a little to the left to get into the traffic. But, and it's, if you look at it from their perspective, you're going up and then you're going to go a little right. And so that, but those little things, and the worst one was the other night when we were going to Anivet in Orleans, and it goes, make a left. And we had a 270-degree right-hand turn. I mean, it was, one of those where you're peeking out because you've got to make it, you're going to take up the whole lane to turn.
Where are you turning?
And it's going, turn left.
Yeah. So most of the time it's good, but you really do have to watch the map on those.
Mm-hmm.
The map is more accurate than the voice, and the voice is sometimes too slow to catch your turns or your exits. But I didn't like Waze. I tried it once or twice and it just wasn't working for me. But to be fair, I was never a really heavy Waze user anyway, so I've always been partial to Google Maps. And that's what we use. And it does work here, but there's times where it's just a pain.
Just don't expect it to pronounce the words correctly.
No, it's terrible with that. The cost of the tolls and the gas make taking a bus cheaper alternative. Well, yeah, but we're talking about driving now, Mark.
Well, I mean, if we could load all of our stuff on the bus and then drop us off at our Airbnb,
exactly.
But no, yeah, no,
sure.
No, that's a valid point. That for a lot of things, it is a lot easier, a lot more convenient, and everything else, and you don't have the stress because they know where they're going. So
yeah, I mean, the topic is not so much about how to go travel around Mexico and see stuff. It's driving, how we drive.
Yep.
So I agree. I would much rather sit on a bus in a cushy seat with some air conditioning and take a nap, because I probably would fall asleep if I was driving anyway, wouldn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I fall asleep a lot. So, or Greg, best habit in Mexico is to break your big bills when you can, even if you have correct change.
Anytime I'm in
Anytime
I'm in Oxo, I'm reaching for the 500.
It's true because, the ATMs, they want to give you all these 500 peso bills and nobody wants them. So, then what? So now I got to go into a bank after I took it out of the ATM and ask them to break it down for me, or we go to the OXXO, or we buy stuff that's close to 500 pesos.
That's about it.
I mean, that's pretty much the way it goes. We mostly just
and even like the HEB, when I have asked, because there's been a few times we've been there and I haven't had change for the people who are doing the bagging.
Yeah.
And, tienes cambio, and they all sort of, and
they hate to break them. They hate to break them, but yet the ATMs give you a wad full of them when you get money out.
I mean, I'm going, I could have paid the whole thing in cash and then you would have given me change back, but
I know. And that's exactly right, Greg. You try to do it when you're going to have a problem, because a lot of these places do not have the change to give you back. And when we were in Oaxaca.
Oh yeah.
We went to a tienda.
The little tienda around the corner that got, where I went to run over and get my bottles of Coca-Cola. I walked in, all I had was a 500, and he just, tarde, and so, the next day I walked in there because I had went and broken the bill and walked in and paid him, and, gracias, because I was going to hawk something. I had to give me some Coke.
I mean, and think about that, how nice that was that this man at this tienda was like, just come back and pay me later.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was kind of cool. I don't leave my burbuja much. That includes Zakia HEB. I like that HEB.
Yep.
And very seldom Huatulco. I call it my bubble. Once a month I venture to Costco, but aside from that, I stay in Zakia. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and everything's pretty much there.
Everything you need is there. I mean, and it just so happens it was that HEB that I went to when it was daytime, and when I left it was night. And I went around the HEB and out the back and through that little town right there behind the HEB.
That little fraccionamiento that's behind HEB.
That's a little scary at night when you can't see anything.
And she hadn't really driven it, and so I know that this is coming up, and there's the difference between her driving style and my driving style is I pay attention to what the hell we're doing, as far as buildings and things. And she just drives. And,
I just drive.
I know
where I need to be.
Yeah. That's why you called me one time in Pittsburgh wanting to know
that is true
how to get around this area. And I was in North Carolina, and I'm like, describe where you're at. And she did.
I was out near West Mifflin.
And I'm like, you're going to go down here. You're going to go down the hill. You're going to go over here.
But he used to live there, and I hadn't. I
didn't live in West Mifflin.
You were close enough to it.
Yeah.
I hadn't been in that area. So.
But I could have said the same thing. I didn't live in West Mifflin, but, that's paying attention. Just different. I pay attention to road mile markers. I always know where they're at. Just because that way, if we break down, So.
Yeah, that's my hex.
Well, if you're hexing me, you're going to be in the passenger seat. So.
Oh, hi,
Thank you, Laura.
Laura. We're going to say it like Espanol. Laura. Andrew, have you had any issues getting scammed getting gas? We have not.
No.
Not ever, not once.
Nope.
Every single person that we have run into since the day we arrived has always asked us to verify that they have zeroed out. Yes.
Yep.
Every one of them. So, yeah. I mean, I was worried about that because I've seen other YouTubers comment on it, but never once. That doesn't mean it'll never happen. But we always go to really big gas stations too. We tend to stick to like the big ones, the main ones on the highways.
Paymax and sometimes G500. Those are probably the two biggest ones. I mean, we did stop at one the other day because I found a new way to go to El Pueblito, unintentionally, because I missed a turn. Because I've done enough, I was confident I could get us there without having to use the GPS, and missed one turn. Hey, and so we stopped to get gas, and actually had an opportunity to enter into a drawing for a moto.
Yep. All right, here, Sleepy Joe. Go into Reynosa every 6 months to get the tip on a Texas plated truck. Well, why are you going to Reynosa? Why don't you just go to the aduana?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Are you here on temp residency, or are you here on the
1-880-day visa?
Yeah, if you're on the visitor visa, then I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not only getting the tip, you're also having the
right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you're on a residency one, you just go out to the
aduana. Go out to the airport to the aduana,
and it doesn't cost anything. They just renew it. Of course, the Querétaro aduana took 10 months to send me the updated tip paperwork by email. It did take 10 months.
Yep.
So by the time it arrived, we were about ready to renew again when we got our 3-year residency.
And that one came the same day.
It came the same day in Progreso, but I had to apply for it and give them a week or two to get the paperwork ready. And then we
Yes.
went out to pick up the paperwork.
Which, you know what? I really prefer that system of,
Mhm.
hey,
Waiting 10 months for an email. Yeah.
and going, gee, if we get pulled over, is this going to be a problem?
And speaking of things like temporary import permits, yes, you do have to have Mexican automobile insurance, driver's insurance in Mexico. If you don't have it and you get pulled over, you're going to be in a lot of doo-doo. So the policies are very inexpensive.
Yeah.
They're I want to say want to call it Mexpat something, Mexpat insurance, something like that. They sell healthcare, automobile policies, things like that. They have 3 different automobile policies that you can choose from. They allow you to look at the limits for each type of coverage on there and compare the prices. Honestly, I go with the cheapest one. It actually had the best coverage.
Yeah. And
So-
a good place if you want to, if you're just starting on doing all that, Mexico Relocation Guide. I mean,
That's true. And she's probably got a lot of different
Yep.
companies that you can look at
Yep.
and refer you to.
That's how we found ours the first time
I
was,
don't think so. No.
well, we started there and then
No.
we sort of,
I mean, I do a lot of research on the internet, so I'm going to say no, that I probably found them on my own. But the point is, the coverage is like $400 a year.
a year.
A year. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a good deal. And you do need to have it. OXO is a laundry. You know what? They do so many external services, and every time you go there to pay a bill, do the equivalent of almost a Western Union, like you're going to go
Mhm.
pay for an Amazon order or something like that. You get a transponder like Passe, all that stuff. Pay your electric bill, pay your water bill, all that stuff. OXO gets a little service fee that they add on in addition to that.
You're shaking everything.
Oh, okay, sorry. Anyway, OXO gets a service fee, so yeah, they're making money on that. And I don't know. Well, they could be doing other things too. I don't know. But it's like they do everything there, which is why they always have change for 500 pesos.
Because people are always walking in and dumping big amounts of cash for, well, not big for Mexico, because they're paying their
electric bill,
CFE,
yeah.
their gas bill. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're always in there spending money.
Yep. And yes, he's got a Corona tonight. Good for him.
It actually was on sale, so it was cheaper than the Carta Blanca.
Oh, good deal. So there you go. You're never driving in Mexico. Oh, come on, Jesse.
No,
it's not that bad. You just have to get used to it.
Yeah,
It's
it's different. And
different.
And I know that you just got back from Merida, and having driven now through a lot of Mexico, overall, hands down, the best roads that we have encountered in all of Mexico
So far,
have been in the Yucatan. So
they were in very good condition all over.
The only problem is getting the road that gets you there from Villahermosa, gets you onto the Yucatan Peninsula, is that melted highway, and it sucks. I mean,
It's literally ruts of melted and rehardened blacktop ruts, like wagon trails.
With Tope still in them.
Yeah.
And they just did announce that they are going to be building a new highway that's going to connect Villahermosa and Chetumal. So,
and they're coming along.
They're getting there,
I don't think the roads in Querétaro are too bad. Honestly.
No.
They're pretty good.
No, they're fine. But, but highways consistently, yeah, Yucatan was the best,
Let's see. We'll be seeing it in Crucesitas for 2 weeks in May. Ooh, it's going to be hot. The condos in Sector H. Yep. We're considering moving to Huatulco in 5 years. So, Laura, I'm going to tell you right now, there is no air movement in Sector H. There is no air movement in Sector H. I'll say it again. There is no air movement in Sector H. It's hot.
and it
Your
just
sweat will sweat.
it's one of those that just hangs there. I mean, the heat and the humidity just are like, whoa.
And the reason is because the water in the distance, it's not that far away, but there's trees and there's
and
buildings that
and a row of mountain that go. I mean, you have to go up and then you have to go back down.
Yeah, so you're kind of in this little isolated area,
and it's almost like a little bowl.
And man, as soon as you get outside of La Crucecita, it'll drop like 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit easily. And you get a little bit of a breeze. And it doesn't feel that bad, honestly.
But God, the vibe there.
Oh, it's a great vibe. It was really cool there.
Go to Barre Sanctuario.
Omar.
And see Omar. And
our friend Omar.
Yep. It's a great little bar. And especially if you want to learn about mezcals, because his family has a mezcaleria. And no, it's, Omar is good people. So
see, and roundabouts are crazy in Tijuana, so I can only imagine.
Oh,
it can be. It depends on how many lanes there are.
And a lot of it also depends upon, like the Glorietas, the roundabout in San Miguel de Allende, no problem.
Nothing.
No problem at all. Here, because we're in a heavily populated
and growing
area, you have construction trucks, you've got buses, you've got people going shopping because
and when we say buses, we mean buses that are joined by the accordion in the middle. So these are like double buses.
And the other part of that is they have the bus terminals in the center, but the bus lanes are on the right.
Yep.
So guess what has to occur every once in a while is the bus just works its way over, and right by Millennial 3, they have a bus lane that's on the right-hand side, and they stop the traffic, and he actually makes the left turn all the way from the right-hand turn. But fortunately, they stop the traffic for that.
All right. What about ambulances? Okay, Laura, the biggest thing that we've learned about ambulances is that they don't just automatically come and get you. There isn't just like some dispatch, here's an ambulance. I mean, unless somebody's called one. And most of them tend to be the Red Cross.
Yep.
Most of not all of them, but a huge part of the ambulances that service various locations are actually run by the Red Cross. And when you get picked up by an ambulance, they want paid. So if they're going to do anything with you and they take you anywhere, they want paid first. And
it's like everything else in Mexico, cash is king. And it's one of the reasons that, we always keep, a couple thousand pesos, just because you never know, the gas runs out. Well, you know what? They take cash, efectivo, bueno. So
now, as far as I know, particularly with Red Cross, because they are so prominent, the care is good. The vehicles are good. Everything is as good, if not better, than what we have seen in the U.S. But I just know that's cash up front. That's how you pay. I guess they take credit cards if you have to. And I don't think it's a horrible amount of money. Usually the larger sum is going to come from the hospital. And again, the ambulance takes you to a hospital if that's where you're going before you can get out of that ambulance and get treated at the hospital. I mean, unless you are an immediate life-threatening situation where they have to provide immediate triage care, immediate, to save your life. Unless that's happening, you got to pay the hospital before they do anything. So I don't know what you do if you're sitting in an ambulance and you don't have enough money to pay the hospital. I mean, do you just get out of the ambulance?
I don't know. I hope we don't find out.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, Ernie might know a little bit more about that. In fact, I know he does. Ernie knows a lot more about that. So Ernie Baca from a Retired Life in Mexico, Noble, he's had lots of experience, particularly as of late, dealing with emergency care and medical bills. So for sure. Okay. Hey, Sleepy, I reckon this coming week we'll see a boost in the value of the US dollar just in time for my pension and Social Security checks. I don't know. I've been watching it. I've been waiting to make some peso exchange, and I'm hanging on a little bit longer. We're going to have a rent payment coming up, and I haven't converted yet because I'm just kind of.
It sort of has been
Yeah.
middling along there.
We'll see. Okay. Ambulance is a good question. Police and ambulance always run their lights, and I never know if it's an emergency or not. So I can move over. I would say that the lights are always running.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a siren, that's the indicator.
That's to get over.
Yeah.
Because that happened to us. We had been here in Mexico maybe a month, and we were like, okay, we're going to go to Amialco, Tezquisquiapan, and Bernal. And so on the way back from Amialco over to Tezquisquiapan, we're going through San Juan del Rio. And, I'm on, I think that's 100. I think the carretera is 100 we were on. And, 2 lanes, 3 lanes right through San Juan del Rio. And I look up, and right behind me, lights are flashing. I'm like, shit, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and we're pretty populated area and lots of traffic. So finally I get a hole opened up, and I get over, and he just drives right by me. And, then Ernie ended up informing us that, basically if the lights are running and you don't hear the siren,
you're good.
Okay. If you hear the siren, then it's okay. Somebody move out the way. Move
out of the way, or you're getting pulled over, one or the other, right? Let's see. So Trump just announced 25% tariffs on autos coming from Mexico and Canada. That will have devastating effects on any sort of U.S. branded vehicles that get sold in the U.S. if they're being manufactured here. I don't follow this stuff close enough, and I kind of wonder if I don't know what the reasons are for it. Is it because there's tariffs on Mexican stuff going to U.S.?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Or is this another one of his posturing to put him in a position to go?
That's what I'm wondering.
Let's also let's do something and reciprocate somewhere.
Willing and dealing. Like, is it a negotiation tool? I'm not really sure. And I'll be honest. As much as I love my family and my friends in the U.S., I'm trying really hard not even to pay attention to what's happening there. Trying really hard, just because we left that behind. We left it behind.
Leave it at the border.
And I don't intend on bringing it here with me. My experience when I lived in Tijuana is that the ambulances would not stop for anybody or anything. Oh, or I wonder if it's the same in Huatulco. You mean they won't stop when they have a patient, or they just don't stop?
I mean, we did see where the bomberos, I think that's what they are, on the side of the road, almost right across from the Chedraui there, and in Huatulco. And one of the things is, you have to remember this, Laura. Tijuana and Huatulco, 2 totally different, environments.
Night
city.
And day.
One's a city, and one basically is a growing pueblita. That's I think it's probably gonna end up being the Tulum of the West Coast, but it's not there yet. And I think that's one of the things that really we enjoyed was, there's enough of the infrastructure there for us, but there wasn't too much.
It was just really relaxed and very laid back. And we actually have left it on one of our top location lists, which the only thing that's keeping it from being way high is the heat. And
I still say it's way high. But
it's high.
It's
high, but that heat was pretty bad, and we were there.
I know.
Pretty much during the time you're going, and
It's warm.
I mean, I couldn't even stand in the bathroom and put some makeup on without sweat running down my back into my butt crack. I'm sorry to be so disgustingly, TMI, but I ended up with a cyst that I had to get operated on because I sweat so much while I was there. It's just that bad. And we had air conditioning, and I did run it. I tried not to run it all the time, but I did run it in the room right around that bathroom just to keep some of the heat down. It was hot.
Yeah.
If we could have a place that
it was humid, hot.
Yeah, hot is not it. It was the humidity.
Hot was Veracruz. I mean, heat wise, Veracruz was hotter than Huatulco, but I think the humidity was consistently higher.
Well,
in Huatulco.
Let's put it this way: when we went to El Tajín in Veracruz, the temperature there was 46 Celsius with the heat index. That's like what, 135 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that?
No.
It's high.
212 is 100, so 106 would be.
I don't know. It was high.
Because water boils at 212.
Anyway, so the heat index had gotten into the 40s.
It was
in
hot.
Huatulco as well. So
yeah,
it was hot. And we did like it there. We really did like it there. It was a nice area to walk. Everything, you could walk very easily over to, the main bay that's closest to La Crucecita. There was lots of little restaurants around that were not outrageously priced. Of course, Omar had that cute little bar that he had.
Oh God, yeah. And
there's a Chedraui there. There were Red Cross ambulances nearby. There was a hospital nearby. The airport, Waldo's. The airport's not that far away. There were fruterias all up and down the street. It's a cool place.
Yeah,
it really is. And it was a nice, relaxing.
I hate to say what we paid at that one night at Omar's, but that was a long night for three of us, and
it was a good night though.
Yeah, it was.
And we made a good friend.
Oh no, I'm just
the thing is we were there during what is considered off season.
Because it was hot.
So I'm curious as to how crowded does it get during the winter? Is it unbearable? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, our friends that have that house that's overlooking the one bay. Now, if you could live out in an area like that where you catch that breeze, oh my, I'd never want to leave that house.
Well, I'd be sleepy Joe. I'd never leave the house. I mean,
because it was cool enough. The breeze really did help. Being closer to the water like that, it was great. So,
and the view didn't suck.
The view did not suck.
No.
And they had an infinity pool. Okay, when I first drove the Cancun Tulum highway, it was one lane each way. That's right.
Yeah.
And then back, trucks didn't move over, but they used their left signal. See, that's what I mean. Yes.
Okay, I've seen them.
I know, and that's what I noticed is as soon as they stick the left signal on, they're saying it's okay on this side to pass. But yeah, that makes sense. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. I remember Tulum from 11 years ago, downtown Tulum. And it was pretty much one lane each way through town. And now it's 2 lanes each way, and they got a highway crisscrossing that is going to be 4 lanes that they're currently widening. No?
8 lanes.
8? I don't know.
Right there by the new Chedraui. They're widening that to 4 on each side.
Oh, I thought they were widening the part further down that was still.
They're going all the way to the beach. I mean, or at least to the part where we would turn off to where our condo was down there, because that whole little fraccionamiento is exploding.
It is. It's crazy how much that place has grown.
And it's going to be 4 lanes going in and out to the main highway. From there,
okay. Here's a tip. Wilfredo is using Baja Bound Insurance for his automotive insurance, I'm assuming. So, yep. Laura, this is great advice. We're only paying $23 a night for this condo. That is incredible. That's wow.
I'm trying to think. We paid probably close to $60, $70 a night.
It was a lot. It was a lot because it was Airbnb and we went through
Yep.
Airbnb and, and again, I'm very well aware of how high the electric bill can get quickly in hot summers with the air running. And I did my best to only run that air when necessary. I had no idea if they had solar panels on their roof or anything. I was trying to be a good guest, and I probably should have just.
I mean,
ran the air.
if we were going to move to Huatulco and bought a house, even if we rent a house, I'd be putting solar up because that way we could regulate, and run the AC
for sure,
and that,
$23 a night for Sector H. Definitely go visit Omar. Excellent. Yeah, Omar he's a really nice guy, and
his clientele, they are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We had some great conversations, and what was really fun was they want to practice their English, and we're trying to practice our Spanish. And then you got the alcohol going. So you end up with these really weird conversations. And it was a lot of fun.
You think?
Yeah. Just don't look for the running water in the bathroom.
No. Omar's bar, he basically rents a lot. This is how a lot of Mexican businesses are. Somebody has a little piece of ground. There's nothing developed on it, and you can rent that piece of ground. And that's what he does. He rents the piece of ground, and he went in and hand built his own bar. And so, he doesn't have any running water.
Nope.
He's got a toilet. He's got a big tub of water that probably gets fed from a tinaco or something. I don't know what. I don't know how it gets fed. Maybe somebody water truck maybe comes in and fills up his thing. So there's a toilet, and then there's a bucket over here with the big giant tub of water. So you pull the curtain shut, you do your business, and you flush it down with a bucket.
Yep.
And then if you get sick, like I did the one night, you throw up and you flush it down with a bucket.
There you go.
Too much mezcal that night. Just saying. That's Winston's fault, by the way.
Yeah, he was the one that
yes, he did.
This.
Yes, he did. Driving in Mexico is less stressful to me. The worst is driving the coastal road between Campeche and Tabasco. Everyone passes. Yes.
Well, that's the melted highway that absolutely sucks because it runs through these little towns. It's narrow as all get out. Mm-hmm. Everybody's trying to shoot around every truck that's in front of them because guess what, folks? That those trucks have no other way of getting from central Mexico out to, Campeche, Merida, Cancun, unless they're coming on a container ship, they're having to drive that road. And so you get stuck behind them. And, there's talk that when they do build the new Villahermosa to Chetumal highway, there's some other areas that they're going to work on, and hopefully, somebody's going to go, we need to build a bypass here.
Some of that road was pretty though. And it was really pretty when we did that bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's parts of it that are pretty, but you get to the melted highway and ain't nothing pretty about that.
Nope. And we watched a video about Huatulco, and I remember you saying it was really hot. Thank goodness we have air conditioning. All right. Couldn't handle 2 weeks with no air conditioning in May. That is true. But
it's
you'll like it.
And
it's
what
really
what
nice.
I found was we had a nice patio, and I go sit on the patio, and until it became just totally drenched, and then it was like, okay, I step inside and cool down for 30 minutes. Then,
hey, and look who's here! It's David.
Hey, David.
David, I'm so happy you're here. Long time no see. And let's see, besides road conditions, I often have to scratch my head when it comes to engineering and design of many highways and roads here in Mexico.
A perfect example is the, one that we went with David and his wife when we went from San Miguel de Allende up to Dolores Hidalgo. And you go, really? You couldn't figure out a better way of getting into Dolores Hidalgo other than, oh, that's right, make us go way east and then come back and then go north into the town.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
the land is here, folks.
And we have a few of these on-off road exchanges very close to us that we were attempting to use to get to El Pueblito to see our friends until Mark found a better way. Because you're going on one and then you're off on another and then you're over here on this one. And this is all in less than a mile.
Well, this is basically
You know.
when you come off a bridge and as you're coming down the bridge, you have an exit to the right that's coming up from the road that you just the bridge went over. And so it's coming up and you're going here, and then maybe 100 yards down is an exit.
And
so
you got cars doing this.
So you got the people who are coming this way. Some of them want to get onto the highway.
Yeah.
And then some of them want to make the exit. Some of them they're coming off the bridge. Some want to go straight, and some want to take the exit. And fortunately, our friends, Andy, Vet, and Arlene went, stop doing that.
Don't go that way.
Go down one more exit and then get off it. And it's like,
it reminds me,
thank you.
anyone familiar with driving in Pittsburgh at all,
It's the Fort Pitt Bridge.
It reminds me of the Fort Duquesne Bridge. Fort Duquesne Bridge.
Fort Duquesne Bridge.
The Fort Duquesne Bridge.
It's been a while.
It's like, I don't know, is that thing 6 lanes wide or something? And people are doing that. They're doing this because they're coming up here, but they got to get all the way over to go down here. And
you have, I mean, at the Fort Duquesne Bridge, you had 2 different lanes that entered onto the upper level from the left. You had one from the right, and then you still had the one that came straight on. So you got 4 different merge points going across and then getting into the tunnel.
And I used to come up on it, and I used to have to crisscross to get off. But then there's people crisscrossing in front of you to get off. It's pretty scary. You never went over it quickly.
Yeah, we knew what you meant.
We knew what you meant. We got it. And thank you very much.
AI is so good at so many things.
I know. Isaac. Hola, Isaac. Hola de Guadalajara. Hola. Bienvenidos. I was told the Red Cross ambulance is free. Oh.
Could be. And
it might be, yeah.
And no, fortunately, knock on wood.
We don't know anybody that used them.
The only person who was offered an ambulance when it broke their arm, then it was like, well, do you want to take a taxi or do you just want to drive her down?
Oh, that's true.
Uh-huh.
He just drove me down to get my arm looked at. No, we don't know anyone who's taken an ambulance. We only have heard, without the name of the ambulance company ever being mentioned, that people had to pay to be treated. I don't think it was a lot. And then we have heard that some people were actually on the ambulance and didn't have enough money to pay for care at the hospital. And I really don't know what the outcome of that was. And I know that we see Red Cross everywhere, and it's one of the more popular ones, not knowing at all if they charge or not.
And that is something that, knock on wood, so far, we've not experienced. And just
I mean, like if they don't charge, I wonder if they take tips or something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Hola, Bruno. Hola. I don't like to sweat either. That's why we're going in May, to see if we could live there. See, exactly. That's exactly why we were there.
That's why we were in Veracruz in the heat of the summer, because we were like, okay.
I would say even in Merida, where everybody's like, oh, it's so hot in Merida. You know what? I will bet money that Veracruz and Huatulco are hotter than Merida. In fact, the temperatures that we got in Huatulco exceeded Merida.
Yeah.
For the times that we stayed.
And I would say that comfort level wise, I think that Progreso and Merida were both a little more comfortable than temperature wise and humidity wise than Veracruz and Huatulco. That's just
indeed. How many years have you lived in Mexico? 2.5.
Almost 2.5 now.
More than 2.5?
No.
Almost 2.5.
We got here November 20th of 2022.
Yeah. 2.5, and
May 20th will be 2.5 years.
We've done a bunch of central Mexico. We've done locations in Yucatan and we've been in Chiapas and Oaxaca
In Pueblo.
and Puebla, and we're going to be moving westward now. We're going to go back to San Luis Potosí too, so that's still central, and then we're going to start moving west, Chapala.
Yeah, after we
like
get
that.
done with returning to SLP, we got Ajijic, Manzanillo, Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, and then La Paz. And that's going to make 20 cities in 4 years. And yeah, I know it was originally more than that,
We've got
but
25, but we had to whittle it down a little.
we realized we needed to break. You know, this. It's hard to believe that we are rapidly coming up on 4 months here in Querétaro.
And we still haven't gotten half the crap done that we were supposed to
Nope.
get done. I got a list over here. Eye doctors, dentists, CENAPON,
Well, the eye doctor we have an appointment for, so
the RFC upgrade, our address change, a bank account. Yeah, still waiting to do all that. And we're about halfway through our stay. So, hey, okay. I'm getting lost now.
right below, right there.
Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys, I'm getting there. My eye hurts. In December, we went to Mazunte for a week, and were able to handle the heat. Okay, and went to Crucecita, and we went to Oaxaca City and Montalban. It was magical. Oh, I like Oaxaca. I like Oaxaca. I like the food in Oaxaca and the culture. And, I think we kind of felt a little bit of that.
There was just a slight edge.
A little bit. Yeah, the people that live in Oaxaca, they are very much being displaced in a lot of ways by the tourism. And that doesn't leave good feelings with them, you know, because they're being displaced in a lot of ways. So,
well, and let's be for real. Chiapas and Oaxaca are the two poorest states in all of Mexico. And, you know, that's sort of, it's easy for them. And one of the things with both of those states are they hold on to their heritage and their culture. And then, you know, they held on to it when the Spaniards tried. They tried to hold on to it when the Aztecs came in, because they're, you know, that's originally Mayan area. And, you know, so they didn't appreciate the Spaniards. They didn't appreciate the Aztecs. They don't appreciate the Mexican government coming in there. They just assume, leave us the hell alone.
yeah, I
You
mean,
know, and so disruption is not viewed well.
no. And we kind of, we don't want to contribute to it. And then we also kind of felt, although the people who got to know us were very kind and very warm and very welcoming, there was always a sense that we weren't as welcomed as we might have been in other places. And that's only because of that underlying current that these people have to deal with. And it's not fair to them. It's unfortunate. But yeah, they have issues getting water. They have issues with affordable housing. And they have issues with rising poverty and more crime. So, yeah, that's all. Otherwise, I loved it there. I love the culture. I love, oh God, Huatulco was beautiful. You know, Centro in Oaxaca was really cool. The church there was awesome. The museums were awesome. Montalban was awesome. Being there for Dia de Muertos was amazing.
Anybody coming to
All
Mexico,
the food.
If you're going to go to Oaxaca, do it during Dia de los Muertos, Dia de Muertos. I'm sorry. I always want to throw that Los in there.
I do
Dia
too.
de Muertos.
I do too.
It is well worth, I know it gets a little bit busier because a lot of people come down there, but it is well worth, you know, because you get to eat the food, which that's a good reason to go to Oaxaca on its own. But yeah, that was something very interesting to see.
It was fun. And I'm glad we went. And I enjoyed it. And I would go back. Got a condo through Verbo. I think Verbo tends to have better rates overall, I think. Although I noticed recently, Airbnb's made some more changes.
I think those two are, I think Verbo is biting in enough that it's forced Airbnb to sort of have to go, oh shit, we can't keep doing this. We're going to have to make this concession or that concession.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to, okay, you can now see what the whole price is going to be.
Oh yeah, no hidden fees now. Now they show you the entire price up front, so you don't get surprised at the end when you check out. Yeah, that's something new on Airbnb. Something else I noticed that was relatively new on Airbnb is that they were willing to take a deposit down for a stay.
Which Verbo, we did that. Verbo only wanted half down, and then as you got closer to the stay, yeah, we'll take the other half now.
Yep. So I thought, competition's good, although I still think that the fees are too much. So we are getting ready to do the drive from Merida to the ferry in Mazatlan. Ooh, have you guys driven those roads?
Halfway.
Only halfway. We haven't made it to Mazatlan yet because we're moving that way. This is like moving westward at this point. So
I mean, that drive, I think you could probably get, oh God, you got to go through that melted road. And that just, I mean, I'm sorry. That's bad. If it was me, the drive from Merida to Villahermosa, once you got past that melted road part, was fairly easy. That is, and I can say, what was the name of the hotel? We've been there. We stayed there twice. Playa Azul or Casa Azul?
Casa Azul.
Casa Azul. Automoteles there in Villahermosa. Very easy to find. It's right across the street from the Sam's, and run over there, save a few pesos on the gas. Villahermosa, speaking of driving, Villahermosa's got some really weird intersections that just, sort of things go this way, that way, and then they sort of come back together or they don't. And you're never really sure which one you're supposed to be in.
You just follow the traffic.
You just sort of follow the traffic. Villahermosa to Querétaro is an easy drive. Then you can get from here. I mean, it's going to take days. I mean, unless you're going to drive at night, you could get to Querétaro, then to Puerto Vallarta. You can make that in one day from Querétaro to Puerto Vallarta, and then up to Mazatlan for the
ferry and just ride overnight.
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna do.
That's
overnight ferry. Taking the drive out the Chazaro. Well, we've already gone out there once, but for sure we'll be going out there again. And even if we aren't, we have a way of getting them shipped to us. So they thought, oh my gosh, they thought Mark was buying these huge orders of cigars to sell them. Apparently they were really shocked when they found out that he actually smokes them.
Why else would I buy them?
To sell them.
Sleepy Joe, you can get those at HEB.
Can you?
I
never saw them.
Black Chazaro is in the humidor especially there in the HEB in El Refugio in the liquor section, and you go in there and they've got a humidor there, and you can get those. Yeah, the Maduros. I bought a sampler pack of the Maduros last time we were there. We were just there 3 weeks ago, something like that, to pick them up. But I'll definitely be going before we leave. So, because I've got about 250 left, give or take.
He goes through them pretty quick. We used an ambulance in Puerto Morelos and we're not charged nor asked. They asked for a deposit at the hospital. Well, that's good to know. Do you know what brand the ambulance was? I'm curious. Because, it may depend on, it may depend on the company, or it may depend on the location. For instance, the hospital care that I got in PDC was excellent, but I easily paid double what I would have paid in other parts of Mexico.
But it's a private hospital.
It's a private hospital in a tourist area. I paid double what I would have paid anywhere else in Mexico. Well, many places in Mexico. So their prices kind of depend on the company too. So I'm curious if it was a brand of ambulance that you know, if it was an independent operator, you know,
Well,
maybe it was location.
and quite honestly, you know, and when things like that occur, that's also one of those you aren't really paying attention to whose name's on the side of it. You're going,
Right.
get my ass to the
You're
hospital.
just
Let's
trying to
get
get
this
to the
taken care
hospital.
of.
So.
You know,
Hey, hola Suzanne and Manzanillo. I hope it's okay there now. I don't know how bad it ever was. You know, sometimes people say, "Oh, it's fine if you're in the tourist zone."
Manzanillo or Mazatlan.
She says Manzanillo.
I
I
know,
don't know.
but Mazatlan was the one that's in Sinaloa, which is
Oh.
where that got a little heated there for a while. So I'm just wondering if that's.
I don't know. Okay, so let's see. What 5 cities did you leave off? Well, anything north of Durango.
Oh no, the 5 cities that we were going to.
Oh, the ones we eliminated, the trimmed down.
We were going to go to
We were
San
going.
Jose de Cabos, and we were going to go to Loreto on BCS, and we decided that we would just go for 3 months to La Paz, and then take day trips to see those two.
I wanted to go to Acapulco, but I don't think it
Well,
ever made it.
Acapulco, we canceled that right post hurricane.
After the hurricane.
I mean, that was like
Guanajuato didn't make it because of the
right Guanajuato City.
conditions to get to Guanajuato was a little.
It got a little dicey in the center part of the state of Guanajuato, and it was like no. Guadalajara was on the list.
It was on the list, but we're going to be close to Lake Chapala, so we'll just take day trips up to Guadalajara.
There was one. Well, we were going to stay in 2 parts of Puerto Vallarta. We were going to Sayulita. We were going to stay in Sayulita, north of Puerto Vallarta, and we went no, you know, because we're starting to run out of time, and then we also determined, you know, we need a couple of months to at the end of this, once we figure out where we're going to be, to get back to that place so we can start
looking for an actual place to get a lease and things like that.
And, you know, get everything settled down and then figure out what we're going to do with the car. Do I need to make a run to the border? Do I not? You know,
are we going to import it or are we going to sell it?
Right.
Yeah. So there's a few things that have to be ironed out at the end. Always the finer details, right?
Always.
Let's see here. Hey, Ruby, how you doing there? I see you. Hola, Karen. Good to see you're still trucking and making out all right. We loved Huatulco, though it was hot.
Yeah.
Looking forward to Mazatlan in 2 weeks. You know what I really loved about Huatulco, other than the vibe? If you like to snorkel like I do, there is some beautiful snorkeling going on. Now, it's not the big reefs that you get off the coast of Cozumel.
No,
it's not that. But it's nice. And the water's real clear. It's real clean. The beaches are really clean. Whoa. Some of them you can't even get to except by boat.
And some of those, you when we pulled up, you felt like, are we the first people ever step foot on this beach? I mean, you know that's not the case.
I know.
But there is nobody around.
Yes.
And you're looking at this beautiful, pristine beach with crystal clear blue water, and you're going, you know, it don't get a whole lot better than this.
No, and realistically, we are not beach people. When we go to the beach, he doesn't even go into the water. Not even North Carolina beaches. He doesn't even go in the water.
I have an agreement with the sharks.
Yeah.
I will stay out of the water if they'll stay off the beach.
And I have an agreement with the sharks too. I'll stay out of the water if you kick up all your old fossilized teeth.
Well, that's your agreement with them. You know, mine has worked very well for many years, you know, because I have yet to see, other than Saturday Night Live, I have yet to see a land shark. Just saying.
What is that? Candy Graham.
Yeah.
But I do like to snorkel, and it's a whole lot easier to snorkel if the water isn't super, super deep and it's not choppy. And they've got some great snorkeling beaches. Really, really do.
Yeah.
and it's just so clean and so pretty. And how can you not like that? It's some of the best beaches I've ever seen in my life. So, where am I at here? Oh, Suzanne, yeah, we're looking relaxed. Thank you. You think? I've had a hell of a couple 2 weeks with my job. Enough that I want to kill people. But I'm glad I'm looking good right now. I wasn't looking so good this morning.
No, I was having to play sounding board.
He was.
And
fortunately, we work that well together like that. He knows I need to get it off my chest, and he just sits there and he's Mr. Bobblehead.
Because I can't add anything.
No,
it's not my forte. I mean, dealing with people, yeah, that part I can chime in every once in a while and go, well, yeah, this person sounds like they're trying to do this, and most of the time she's going, I've already figured that out. Well, I'm just trying to help some way I can.
I know.
But she just needs to unload.
I just need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You know how that is when you get all wound up.
Oh, we commuted together for years, and it was hilarious because I'd pick her up, she'd get in the car, and she just starts going,
while he's driving,
and I'm driving, and I'm just and she's not holding it against me. Nope. That I'm not really paying attention.
I don't need him to answer back
because she's not holding it against me that I'm sitting there being, and I'm not holding it against her that, all I want to do is just unwind and drive home. Well, you know what? She needed to unload. I needed to just concentrate and just sort of, and so it's perfect. By the time we got home, she had unloaded. I pretty much unwound, and it was like, okay, what do you want for dinner?
There you go. Was there a specific place you enjoyed eating in at Huatulco? Yes, there were 2 places. One is more costly than the other and is more finer dining, and the other is just down and dirty, damn good food. So that place that was across the street from us,
La
Paredes, you can get, I don't even know how many types of.
You can get 3 tacos. I got 3 of the barbacoa tacos, 35 pesos.
I mean, but there's so many different types of meats that put. I mean, they've got the seafood types, and you got your choices with the seafood, and then they've got beef and choices with the beef. I mean, you could get rib meat, and when you get ribs, they brought the bone out too. I mean, you get rib meat tacos, and then here's your bone. Cheek. I'm trying to think. I don't think they had tongue.
I don't think
that they had a lot. Then they had pork.
It's a very strong menu, and they have tlayudas.
Tlayudas.
And
tacos and wow.
Las Paredes and normally if you're there 5 to 6 o'clock, expect a little bit of a line. I mean, and there's a downstairs seating and an upstairs seating. That's where the locals go. And
so good.
It is very good food, and it's right there. If you're in a condo, I'm betting I probably know close to where you're going to be, and you're probably only a couple of blocks from Las Paredes.
Yes. I don't think that's the same. No, that's not the same person, honey. Different person.
Oh. Okay. I'm sorry. Never mind. But
it is in Sector H on the main drag. 1, 2, 3, like about 3 blocks in, 3 blocks away.
From what?
From Centro, from the Zocalo.
Well, it's about 3 blocks away from everything. The road that goes out to the highway that goes down to the Chedraui and to the beaches. It's 3 blocks north of that, or actually east of that. It's about 4 blocks in from the carretera that comes into Huatulco. It's about 3 blocks over from the Centro, and it's right there where a lot of those condos are at.
Now, I'm looking for the name of the other one. It is
the hotel.
It's a hotel, but the restaurant is not the name of the hotel.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was.
No, it isn't.
Okay.
It isn't. And I'm looking. I think it's 1 block this way.
And
It's really good though.
there's also one that is basically on the square. I can't remember what the first name is, but the second it's something Mezcal. And that was pretty good. It's where her and Winston love the chapelinis and guac.
Oh, they had, if you're willing to
Was
try.
it maize and mezcal? I think it was.
I think if you're willing to try, I don't know why I'm looking this way. I should just go back and look into my money spending app, and I can tell you exactly what the name of the place was. If you like chapelines, what he's talking about, me and Winston both agreed that was the best chapelines we have ever had anywhere. Really, really, really flavorful. Very good.
And folks, I've watched the two of them also try them in Oaxaca. And so no, they still kept going back to I think it is maize and mezcal. Maize mezcal. And you just go to the Zocalo, the church is over here. You got the
all right.
Oh, what do you call it? The main square, the Zocalo gazebo in the center, and then right off the side is Mazy Mezcal, and there's a little coffee shop down the corner.
Mazy Mezcal. Mas y Mezcal. The place that I'm thinking of, it's in a hotel, it's on a corner, but it's not the name of the hotel. It's its own name. It's called Terracotta. They have very good breakfasts. We have heard that their French toast is amazing. We went for lunch. The lunch was also extremely good, and I had some kind of sandwich, which I had half a sandwich, and I still had to take half of that half sandwich home. It's a lot of food, very delicious, very affordable.
That's at the top of the dining experience as far as fine dining. Mazy Mezcal is a little closer to that, and Las Paredes is all the way down to bottom. But the quality of food, oh my God.
Absolutely. Yummy. Very good place to.
I mean, I wouldn't walk into Terracotta in a pair of shorts, flip-flops, and a tank top, but you could do that at Las Paredes.
No, and see, and Terracotta has a nice little bakery area where you, right as you're coming into the restaurant, they have a glass case where you can buy like entire pies and cakes and things like that as well. So it's a little fancier. But it wasn't as expensive, in my opinion, as Maz and Mezcal. But we went for lunch, and that might be why.
That could be. Yeah, we didn't have the dinner menu.
Right. Oh, he's going.
And we didn't drink.
Oh, wait. I think I missed Suzanne. I'm coming back to you, Suzanne. I guess we probably missed you now, but thank you for joining us tonight. If you watch the end of this later, we do appreciate you being here. So I'll go back to Suzanne. Sorry, I skipped you, honey. Manzanillo, it's my fave. Spent a lot of time in the 80s. Heard some things were sketchy there for a while, and I miss it. I don't know. And I'm looking forward to checking out the area on that side. So are we actually going to Manzanillo? We going to Manzanillo?
Yes.
Are we? I can't remember.
Manzanillo
This is how bad it is.
Manzanillo is between Ajijic and Puerto Vallarta.
Did we keep that one?
That's the one.
Yes, we did.
That's the one that the woman really didn't want to rent to us until she finally figured out. Oh, okay,
that's right. And everything is kind of like on a hill, kind of on a cliff. Yeah, boy, we had to convince her that we are going to be decent guests.
I don't know if this is the place for you guys.
Why are you going to move all your things?
Then she started reading our reviews.
And I'm like, please, if you're unsure, just go read our guest reviews. I'm like, we take really good care of things, and we're not going to mess anything up. And we have to have a place to keep our stuff. I mean, we have stuff. People aren't used to that. When they do vacation rentals, they're not used to people having a bunch of stuff with them like we have. So she was worried about us maybe possibly bringing bugs in with our boxes of stuff. And it's a fair thing to say.
Yeah, it is.
It's fair.
The only bugs we would bring in be the same ones that live in Mexico. So,
well, but she doesn't want them. Yeah, I totally get that. Because bugs can travel with you. They absolutely can. So, do you think work will get better? I think it will. The thing is that
It's a
I
learning curve
it
for
it,
everybody.
it is, and they really didn't give enough time for everyone to adjust. This was a very rushed job. We basically had to learn everything this organization does in about 4 weeks, and we didn't get that much one-on-one with them. So you're talking about how to do something, but now you have to learn how to do it their way. And unless they're there guiding you step by step, you're not going to learn their way. And that's kind of, we're getting to the point now where come the second week of April, we will not be able to reach out to these people anymore for their assistance.
And the other thing that has sort of thrown this for a loop is that because it was a rushed put together project, not everybody that was on the team was vetted appropriately. And so there's varying levels of proficiency.
Yeah.
And so a lot of time has been spent dealing with trying to get some of the lower level people up to where people like Gina are at, and just to do printer tickets or something. And Gina's like, well, I'm dealing with this right now. I know how to do printer tickets. I need how to do this because these are rolling in. So
Yeah.
the demand for assistance is at different levels. And
Yeah. And well, hey, I don't know if I mentioned this.
see, I do listen while she's doing the.
I don't know if I mentioned this. I think I just got this information either at the end of last week or early this week, but guess who's number one on the team? That's me.
Like there's ever a doubt.
Officially from my manager, I have the best turnaround time and ticket resolution rate of everybody on the team. Now, I am not, I don't have the most number of tickets, but I have had some pretty hard doozy ones that have taken some working out. So it's one of those things, like you said, it's trying to learn the way these people want it done and having them available to me to show me that way, and me not wanting to feel like I have to fall back on them every time I have a question. So I'm trying to force myself to dig through a bunch of their old documentation and figure stuff out on my own. I'm trying to be resourceful. And sometimes that means that you spin your wheels a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, then you've got other things that are extraneous to that. Like we have team members on our team that need help.
It's just,
That's all.
I mean,
It'll get better.
You're trying to build a team and learn a system all at the same
Exactly.
time. It's a lot of balls all in the air at the same time.
It'll get better.
Mm-hmm.
I know it will. It's just, I'm just on a time limit right now for something I have to get
Oh,
done.
okay, good. I wasn't wrong.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I got an idea probably where. No, I get that. No, you were right. But I got a feeling I know where your condo is, and it literally is probably only going to be like 5 or 10 minute walk to La Paredes. And
oh my gosh, that place was so good.
And it's not fair.
Yes.
Because if you are sitting on your terrace and they crank up starting to cook the meat,
oh, you're gonna smell it.
You smell it because you're outside going, give me any breeze. I need a break.
Oh,
da, 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 da.
And look,
then,
because you're so close to the ocean, you have a lot of seafood options too, which we never visited because he doesn't eat that stuff. So just about every restaurant there is going to have seafood options.
That same street, you are going to have more fruterias than you know what to do with.
So yes, London, it is. Excuse me, Mazi Mezcal. Mazi Mezcal. That's correct. Did you try any ants?
Oh, hell no.
Not Mark and not in Huatulco. I tried ants, chicatanas in Puebla. I actually tried one at the Mercado Bastos, and I didn't I didn't think good or bad of it. To me, it had no flavor, no seasoning. It was just crunchy, and I'm like, it's all right. And I didn't want any. I ended up buying some chapulines, though, of course. Um, and then when we were in Puebla, I had a mole blanco that was typically served with escamoles, but the escamoles were not in season. So they topped it all off with a whole bunch of chicatanas, and I ate that. And again, my assessment is the same. The mole blanco had a great flavor, and the only thing that the ants added to it was crunch. Texture. That's it. And it really wasn't a texture that I feel like I need to have again. So I probably won't eat them again. Now, just this past weekend, I finally got to try escamoles. And I don't know if it was just what they cooked them in or what, but it was just okay. I have heard that when they render them in like tallow or something like that, that they can be very, very good and flavorful. These were just okay. And I don't feel compelled to want to get them again. The texture, it wasn't nothing wrong with the texture. I didn't feel weird eating them at all, but the flavor just wasn't knocking it out of the park for me. And given the price, escamoles are pretty expensive. And if you don't know what escamole is, remember those chicatanas, those ants I was talking about? Well, those chicatanas are great big giant flying ants, and they take the wings and the legs off and they separate them all out and throw them on moles and stuff. Well, the escamole are the eggs of those big ants, and they're really big eggs, and they're sometimes called Mexican caviar. Now, I've had caviar. It's not caviar. But it's not horrible. I just don't feel like I want to spend that kind of money and get it again. It was like 400 pesos.
And Arlene tried it unknowingly.
Yeah.
That they were ant eggs, and she was just like,
"Oh, these aren't bad."
No, she was sort of
Yeah, they aren't bad.
And then
when she found out
they were ant eggs, it was like,
nope, I'm done. And like I said, they're expensive and they're seasonal. And this was like, I want to say about a half cup, maybe. It was probably more like a third cup.
Less than that. It was small.
But it was in a big dish, like this, and it covered the bottom of that dish by at least a half inch. Okay. So I want to say
maybe
about a third cup, and they were a little over 400 pesos, which is like $20, right? Yeah. I mean, so I don't think I'd ever get them again. Price wise, I didn't think it was worth it. So yes, I did try the ants. Mark will not do these things. We have friends that have a place in mind. So if you run into an issue, let us know. We can get you connected. Oh, awesome, Ruby.
Thank you, Ruby. Yeah,
I think we'll probably
we were good. It was one of those where
she was just grilling us with a lot of questions.
And I mean, we had one particular person, host wise, that actually wanted to talk to us on the phone.
Yeah.
And basically interview us before
in Oaxaca.
We were going to occupy his abode for 3 months. And
they just want to make sure that you're going to be a good guest. And fortunately, we've got really good reviews now. So at this point, I just said, please, if you're unsure, please go look at our reviews from other hosts. And she came back and she was like, "Oh, your reviews are really good. Okay. All right, there we go. No bugs. We'll take care of the stuff."
Nice to know that something in the back pocket, because that's always a good.
For sure. Thank you, Ruby. There we go. The beautiful houses on Manzanillo near Las Hadas on that cliff. Yeah, and this is kind of like in a condo community, I believe. And they were really concerned about, keeping the neighbors happy and things like that. And we were trying to find a place to park, and I was curious about the parking situation. And that's how this all got started. I told her we had things to unload and we want to be sure that we're able to do so. And then she was like, "Well, what do you have to unload? What? Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't 2 suitcases, that were coming down to hang out by the pool."
Yes, I know. I was like, "Woo! Well, that's pretty awesome." So that's good. I feel that's good. And because I have concerns about certain things going on right now, I think that helped it go a long way when I said we have an issue here. This is something we need to look into. and we're going to get things going. Things are going to work well. We just have to get through it. I tried grasshoppers and didn't care for them too much, but I saw your video where you had them with guacamole. It's probably better with guac. I think so. And I have had grasshoppers that were not that good. I got a bag at the beach one time. I think they were salted.
Regresso.
It came with some lime. And
they poured the hot sauce in the bag right there.
And that's fine. But the thing is they tasted very, dare I say, grassy. So they still had that very herbaceous flavor to them, and they weren't very good. And I ended up not eating them all. I ate a few, but I really didn't eat them all. And but the ones at that restaurant were delicious. The ones that we bought at the mercados in Oaxaca, where they let you try them, different flavors, were all very, very good. I like the chili lime and I like the garlic lime the most. Very good. And I've never had them in a taco. I've never had them where you just eat a whole bunch of them. I've just had them as little snacks in between drinks or something. So, and insect eggs, barf. I will say they didn't smell too good the next day. There was a funky smell to them, so I wasn't real keen.
What do you? Oh, you mean the leftovers?
The leftovers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, the leftovers. They didn't keep well, and they didn't smell too good the next day. And like I said, the flavor was not overwhelmingly knocking it out of the park for me. So I won't get them again. They're expensive. And yeah, I tried grasshopper. They weren't too bad. See, I don't think they're that bad. I saw you, but you didn't take the legs off. And nobody wants to get legs stuck in their teeth.
The only way they get stuck in the teeth is if you chew them.
Well, yeah.
The one I tried, it was like doing a shot.
But you didn't even get the flavor.
I didn't want the flavor. I was only doing it to shut you two women up so I could go on.
Oh, so fun. So fun. Oh, Chapulines. Any tips for a home buyer? Is it better to buy a parcel of land or an already built home or a condo? Well, Eric,
we're still trying to figure that out. Honestly,
we are still trying to figure it out. But I saw a video recently from La Querencita. She had a house that needed a renovation. It wasn't quite built. The house itself wasn't quite what they wanted. And she realized that what the Mexicans have done forever and a half is they start small. And when they save up enough money, they add another floor, add another part, and that's how they do it. You can stay out of mortgage debt completely by doing it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to buy a parcel of land, that's not a bad idea. It's bought, it's paid for, it's now yours.
I mean, if you think about it, you can start with 4 rooms, a bedroom, a kitchen, a sala, and a bathroom. Okay, and maybe a laundry room, something like that.
Yeah.
But, and pay for it all and go, okay, now I'm going to save up. I've got another 100,000, 200,000 pesos. Now I'm going to add, 2 more bedrooms, another bathroom, and oh, by the way, now I'm going to build the master, bedroom that I want that has the baño, en suite and everything else. And that's basically what they do is they start small and just grows. And then when it can't grow anymore out, they start growing up.
And that's what Ernie Baca did with his.
Yep.
They added a floor. They had the house. I think it was 2 floors, and they added another one.
And Yvette and Arlene. I mean, they had the cutest house, little 3-bedroom house, 2 baths, got a great kitchen, got a bar that we know very well. And then, son came down to live with them. Well, where are we going to put him? Well,
they built a little casita on the
built
top.
A casita up on top, and
so now he lives on the roof.
And oh, by the way, when we built the casita on top, then we went ahead and put a little terrace out there so that on those nights when they want to just sit on the terrace and listen, because they're not far from a music venue, and when the music venue is having a concert, they can sit up there and hear the music almost as well as if they were paying for the tickets.
Yep.
So, and from their roof, they can see the pyramid.
Now, of course, you can buy a fully built home, condo, if you want to. Um, and of course, you can always add on to that too, if you want to later on. If it's not big enough or if it's missing something that you think you need, a renovation of some kind. Maybe you don't like the kitchen. This stuff happens a lot. Maybe you want some traps put in because you're getting sewage gas in the shower, stuff like that. It can be done. I don't know. I think with us,
I mean, one of the things is where we're at right now here in Querétaro, right across the street, they're building a carbon copy of this one. I mean, literally, it's they're in this one we have, I think, 2 rows of townhomes, and then a row and a half of houses. Standalone houses.
and when we say houses, they look just like the townhomes.
The only difference
identical.
is there is space between them.
Yeah, like a little bit of space.
And they have carports. We don't have anything covering where we park. We just pull right in front of the house, and
Yeah.
And just to give you an idea, they are 2.7 million pesos for the casas, which is $135,000, and then 1.7 for the townhomes, which are 3 stories, which is $85,000. And I mean, the one we're in, we've got 1, 2, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. Kitchen, you can see behind us, is not spacious, but it's also not the smallest that we've had here in Mexico by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Is it something right here? Is this something that I can picture us buying? No, because do I want to hike 3 floors up?
Mm-mm.
When I'm 75 years old, which I know I look young, folks, but that's only a little over 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Do I want to be doing that at 75? If I'm still here at 75, but no, probably not. We probably prefer something at most 2 levels. And even if it's 2 levels, we probably prefer to have the master bedroom on the main level. So,
And space is something that I like to have. I feel like the furniture that's in this lower level is too big for the space that's available. So we're a little squeezed in. But I would like to have a bigger living room, a bigger dining room, a much bigger outside living area. You don't get that in what we're sort of in right now. These fraccionamientos, they don't really offer.
No, I mean,
these cookie cutter places don't offer big yards and things like that.
I mean, my space out here to go sit and have a cigar, it's basically the size of a cell. I mean,
but I would say if you could find land and you like the location, our friends Annie, Vet, and Arlene, they actually did do that.
Yeah,
they're living in their house, but then going on the way over towards Quisquiapan,
La Cava,
there is a whole housing development. I don't think there's a single house built in it yet. They're still selling lots.
Yep.
And the 2 of them bought a lot. They bought a small lot, but they looked at it as an investment because as these lots get bought up, they've been going up in price. So either they may consider building a house out there later, or they may sell it at a higher price than what they paid.
So, yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, our plan is when we do this, when we pick the city, whatever it is, we're going to rent for a year, because just because we picked the city does not mean we have now picked the neighborhood.
Or even the final
or even the final city. I mean, spending a year in a place is different than 2 or 3 months, and we may go, oh, well, we really like this. And after spending a year there, this wasn't exactly what we anticipated.
The best thing about renting is you don't have to commit.
No,
Yeah.
we're open. And the best part about that is we won't have to pack up again for a whole year. But
Sure.
anyway,
But we'll have to buy appliances. See, most leasing rentals typically do not have furniture in them, especially they won't have a refrigerator. So we'll have to buy stuff too, and then we'll have all this stuff that we have to pack up and
Yep.
move somewhere. So, yeah.
and one of the first things going to be bought is going to be a recliner
Oh yeah.
or two.
Or two. They may have tasted grassy, but did they taste hoppy? I don't like hops either. I don't like beer. No.
See, I can deal with the hoppy part, but
No. And did you rent your snorkel gear or do you have your own? We actually have our own.
well, no,
We kind of half rental.
we have the masks.
We have really nice masks and the snorkel tube. And we did kind of half rent. They brought us another mask, another mouthpiece,
and the flip and the fins.
and the fins. And I used the fins. I did use the fins because I
and
get
it was
around better.
three.
I don't remember how much. It wasn't a lot.
I think it was 250 to don't quote me, but I think it's 250 to 350 pesos
for the whole day.
for the whole day. And you watch the most beautiful beaches in Mexico video, and I think we outlined what it cost us there.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't a lot, but I like our masks because our masks
They're full face.
They're full face masks, and you get a full 360 without anything getting in your way.
Yeah, well, they work well when you don't have a beard.
That is true. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's Tom.
Tommy.
Believe it or not, I was in Pittsburgh for the weekend. Oh, forgot all about the bridges and tunnels. Went to a concert at City Winery, stayed downtown. Nice time. I like Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh a lot. And I never got tired of it. And some of my favorite places to visit are actually all around the Oakland area where University of Pittsburgh is and Phipps Conservatory. But then the north side also has the aviary. But I like Pittsburgh a lot. And there are times I do miss it a little bit. A little bit.
I am, yeah.
I know. Oh, congrats on being number one. I am number one. Good night, Tom. Oh, goodness. Is San Juan del Rio a nice neighborhood there?
No, San Juan del Rio is a separate city. It is southeast of Querétaro. It is.
I shall be right back.
Almost if you were to do a triangle, well, you could do a triangle because if you got 3 points, you can make any triangle. But it is probably 35 minutes southeast here, right down 57D here in Querétaro, in the state of Querétaro. It's a quaint little town. It's not very hard to get back into Querétaro from there. There are some very nice neighborhoods that are just outside of San Juan del Rio, Suzanne. We have a friend, Juanjo, who lives in a great neighborhood, and he is just outside of San Juan. I'm trying to remember if I can remember the name of the neighborhood. Do you remember that, babe? He is not far from Hacienda Galindo.
He's at the golf course.
Yeah, he's at the golf course there.
There's a private golf course with homes. I can't think of it either.
That was a very, very nice neighborhood it's not really in San Juan del Rio, but it's right outside of it. I mean, that's where he goes to shop.
He is in
right over.
I know. Let me get there. He's this way. There's Amealco. That's too far away.
Back over.
Right up here.
Nope, too far. Too far. He's right here. There's the pond. and the lake and all that.
San Gil.
San Gil.
San Gil. And it's like a private golf club /
I mean, all that
housing.
is in San Gil is that basically that community. I mean, that's the
Yep.
exits there. You go one way to go to his house. You go the other way to go down to Amialco and to the hacienda.
Yeah.
Which, wow, that hacienda was like, damn.
Pretty nice. Halindo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to Chazaro. I like those torpedoes also. Guy sells them by the brick, 25. So if you want to go halfers on a brick, I'm in. Torpedoes? Do you remember the torpedoes?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not I know which one you saw because I got 2 of the torpedoes in the sample pack that I got. And torpedoes aren't my favorite. I mean, if it's up to me, Sleepy Joe, I smoke nothing but Churchills. That's my favorites. You know, give me a 7 by 52 and I am a happy camper. You know, give me a 7 by 60 and I'm a really happy camper. You know.
What about the brandy teed dipped one or whatever they dip that in, the coffee tea?
That's the black ones, the Maduros. See.
Yeah, the Maduros, they smell so nice.
Yeah. I mean,
they really smell nice.
I'm saving up mine for Annie or Arlene's birthday. So, you know,
Sleepy Joe, you really should go out there and go on the tour if you haven't done it yet.
If you want, let me know because I got nothing to do during the week. You know,
You'll leave me here. I'll have no one to vent to.
Now we can't go. We can only go on a Friday because that's the only weekday they're open. They're closed on Monday through Thursday, as far as the shop and everything else. It's an easy drive. I mean, I have done that drive. I made the drive from San Miguel de Allende to there, and I made the drive from here to there. I can't count the number of times now. So if you want to run out there, you know, and I mean, depending upon what he's charging you, I know that the 5-pack sampler that I just bought from them ran me just say 1,000 pesos, un mil, for 5 cigars. So 200, you know, that's $10 a stick. You know, I normally pay 60 peso for my normal cigar, but you know, these are the hand rolled, dipped in with the wrapper that's dipped in the tea, and I mean,
that tea smelled so good.
There's a difference.
It's good stuff. Hola, it's hamburguesa con queso y frijoles. How are you doing tonight?
I like mine with lettuce and tomato, Heinz 57 and French fried tomatoes. Big kosher pickle and a cold ass beer. Good God Almighty, which way do I steer?
I wondered where you were going with that, parrot head.
Well, I'm just, you know.
Of all the places you've been, is there one that really stands out?
Hold on, we talking La Crucecita, we talking Mexico, we talking
I think
cities,
of
we
all
talking
the places you've been in Mexico. That's what this is. Is there one that really stands out? Yeah. Querétaro.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. I mean, if you want to say, where's the best food that you have eaten? Oaxaca, without a doubt,
hands down, Oaxaca,
without a doubt,
for sure.
What is the best city that you've been in for cultural enlightenment?
Ooh, I'm gonna.
Ooh.
Okay, so it's either gonna be the history. I would have said Dolores Hidalgo until we went to Puebla. But for indigenous history, I'm going to say it would be San Cristobal de las Casas with regards to Zinacatan and Chamula.
Merida was right up there as well, but
Merida had a lot of history.
Having a
too.
lot of cultural events,
history events
that they paraded out there every night.
They did.
I mean,
they did.
so I mean, that's
for having infrastructure that would suit anyone's lifestyle. I would say Merida, simply because Merida,
well,
you could live small and colonial if you wanted to, or you can live big and fraccionamiento if you want to. You've got 6 shopping malls to choose from if you want them. You've got all the big box stores if you want them, major hospitals, and then you get into Centro, and it's just the coolest thing because there's something going on every night.
But I mean, you could also say sort of the same thing about Querétaro. You could also sort of same thing sort of about SLP. I mean,
but there really
SLP.
There isn't something going on every night in Querétaro.
No, I get that. But SLP, we didn't get as much of the cultural vibe, but then we really weren't in Centro that often because we were in Jardín de Tequisquiapan because they had the best damn churros that I've ever had.
Which one could argue that we did get culture because
no. I'm not disputing that, but I'm saying we didn't spend enough time in Centro. I mean, first of all, we were there for a month.
We weren't in
10 days of that. We were dealing with a crisis, and the rest of the time I was having churros in Jardín de Tequisquiapan.
We're going back to San Luis.
I mean, and that's one of the reasons we're going back there.
And one could say we got lots of culture out of Oaxaca as well.
History-wise, the two that struck me the most would be Dolores Hidalgo and Puebla.
Yep, 100%. Look, I love Puebla.
Culturally, as far
love it.
As being in the center of everything to get culture, history, and everything else. SMA, because you look at what they went through, what they put on for Easter and everything else.
That's true too.
You go, holy crap! We were blown away by SMA. We were blown away by the number of Gringos that were there as well. I mean, and so it's sort of the places we could eliminate. Okay, Tulum gone. Playacar, gone. Valladolid, gone. Only
because of where Valladolid is located. I could live there, but because of where it's located, it's like a 45-minute, 50-minute drive to get to a hospital, to get to a shopping mall.
I mean, you're either going to Cancun or you're going to Merida.
Airport.
I mean,
everything. It's kind of out of the way.
It was a place we went because we really enjoyed going there when we used to go to Riviera Maya. And we wanted to spend some time there, and great place, but that one's gone. San Cristobal de las Casas, gone,
but worthy of a visit.
Would we go back and spend a month there in that cabin? Hell yes, absolutely, would do it in a heartbeat. But it's an hour and a half from San Cristobal to an airport. And it sounds like Guatemala's invading every day, because it's sort of a bowl, and they have these big fireworks that go off every morning, and but those cities are out. To be honest, Oaxaca, probably not. For me, Puebla, no.
He can't. Puebla's out for him because of the.
Whatever hit me in Puebla, I mean, would we go back to Puebla? Yes, I loved it. But after 2 weeks there, she's leaving me a block and a half behind her. And she doesn't pay any attention because it never happens where I'm a block and a half behind her.
He was tired. He was taking extra naps during the day. He had no energy. He couldn't keep up with me, which never happens. I'm usually keeping up with him. So yes, in the central areas of Mexico, you often will see, if you look for it, air quality advisory warnings because it's dry, because it's dusty,
and popo.
And if you are sensitive, They'll even recommend that you wear a mask if you're going to do outside activities, if you're a sensitive person. Well, now you got all of that plus volcanic ash in the air. And we're wondering if.
And it was heavy enough that, I'm sitting outside having a cigar, taking my Spanish class, and go to reposition my hat, and just doing this.
You could, yeah.
The grit.
It was grit.
And it was all on my hand, and it was just like, wow, okay. So
yeah, so you're breathing that in, and okay,
Yeah.
look, he's a smoker too.
Don't need the help.
So yeah.
I mean, realistically, Merida, as much as I enjoyed it, no. Because of the price of the inflation and everything else.
The inflation that hit Merida made it kind of like, we were really surprised. In general, there's always an outlier, but in general, it cost us much more in the Yucatan Peninsula to live than it has in the central areas.
Progresso?
Maybe.
I mean,
Progresso is one of those places where the things that I might want, we might have to drive to Merida to get.
But it's not a long drive.
But it's not a long drive.
Huatulco? Yeah, I mean,
Huatulco.
Love Huatulco. So that leaves us really.
So really, what's number one? I mean, that's just it.
I think our ass is sitting in it.
I think so. I think Querétaro so far is kind of at the top, but it doesn't mean it's the place.
No.
We still have other places to see, and we have other things to consider. I think right now, what makes Querétaro feel like number one is the comfort. When we go into Centro, and it's only been a couple of times, it feels right. It feels
both
like home.
The first time that we walked back into Centro,
it was like
to go have dinner with Brighton and Kat, and we get in there, and both of us looked at each other and went, "This feels like home."
It feels good.
And quite honestly, the people of Mexico have been consistent. They have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wherever. I mean, Jose Luis and Juanita and that family down in Veracruz, you could not ask for better people.
They're awesome.
We still, are in contact with them. We have met up with them.
Yep.
Claudia in Huatulco.
She still reaches out to us.
She's going to be here in April, and she's just like, "Oh, we got to get together. I'm coming to Querétaro." Fanny and Playa Car.
Yeah.
They're just, David and
David, who was just on
David,
here tonight,
but the one in Playa Card. No, Scott and oh God, the last name's Cloud. Then we went to their house.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Occasionally reach out to us.
Yeah.
The point is here in Querétaro, one of the advantages Querétaro has at the moment is we have multiple friends here, and they're like family.
No, they're not like family.
I mean, they are.
They are family. And in the other part, let's be for real. You got David, San Miguel de Allende. Okay, 45-minute drive max.
Yeah,
Ernie,
he's not that far away.
45-minute drive.
Not that far away. If we want to go to Tequisquiapan, which we absolutely love, and Tequisquiapan could be a potential too. Just saying.
That was the only problem with Tequisquiapan, because you can get to the airport just as fast from Tequisquiapan as you can from Querétaro, because it's just on the same equidistance on the other side, is the infrastructure. That's
potentially
that
I know. Tequisquiapan is one of those things. Here's what makes it special in my eyes. It is a pueblo mágico. And the purpose of the pueblo mágicos is to bring in tourism and boost the economy in that town. Well, we've been to Tequisquiapan on a weekday, and we've been to Tequisquiapan on a weekend. And while it was busy, it was never crazy.
No.
It was never crazy, even on a weekend. So it's one of those things where, okay, yeah, this is a tourism location, but it's not crazy tourism. It's not like, oh, I don't want to go out on the weekends because there's so many people out there. No, it's not like that at all. So I kind of like that. I don't know, guys. It's really hard to say right now what number one absolutely is, but I am going to say that Querétaro does feel comfortable. We have a lot of friends here, but we still have to revisit San Luis Potosi, where we do also have friends, and we still have a few more places to visit just to be sure. So I never want to say 100% that this is definitely it, but it's high up there, pretty high.
Well,
Yeah.
best vibe, without hands down,
Huatulco,
Huatulco.
absolutely best vibe.
Best vibe of the city. Yep.
Best vibe, Huatulco. Best food, Oaxaca. Best mix of history, convenience, vibe, Puebla, and the surrounding Puebla.
Puebla, yeah.
Except that you can't.
I agree that the mix is phenomenal there.
Best for colonial and modern. Merda for me so far. Without the,
I'd agree with that. Best for people who want to be able to walk, SLP.
SLP.
I mean,
Sure.
San Luis Potosi has some, and oh, by the way, best churros, San Luis Potosi.
He's tried all the churros.
Yeah.
Mr. Churro Man.
Yeah. I can't wait to go see my boys there in the
goodness.
corner of, the Hardin, because, and I don't know if they're going to remember me, but I'm damn sure going to remember them, and I'm sure it's not going to take long until they go, sombrero, loco gringo, charro, zarzamora, conas. Ah!
Yeah. Will they remember that combination? Gringo with the hat who gets the zarzamora.
I bet they do.
I bet they do too, because you were there so often. Still trying to emotionally deal with eating bugs. You know what? They were never alive and they were never uncooked.
Now,
so
one of the things, Jesse, we are going to be doing a video sometime during our time here in Querétaro is how to survive in Mexico when one of you is adventurous in eating
and the other is not.
And the other is meat and potatoes,
and only certain types of meat.
Yeah. It can be done. I as you can see, I have not starved. I have not I lost 15 pounds when we got here, and it's pretty much been that level since we've gotten here. So
for sure. Catalog shows a brick at $62.50 for 25. You're gonna haggle with them? Wow.
$62.50, $315 for 25. So we're going to talk $13 a stick.
But you can get them for 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you buy that pack, that combo pack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the combo pack has short ones though, so you're
yes, I know it does.
You're getting less like that. So
we have to go out there and talk with Mauricio, and because Mauricio is the general manager of the place. So and trust me, they know me, and I have never ever asked for a discount. And I can't count the thousands, and I do mean thousands of cigars.
So he might have an edge there
that I have bought from them. So
he might have an edge.
And also they get all this free advertising. So
that is true.
We
even did a video on them.
I'm just putting it out there
we did a video on them. So yeah. Okay, I like the vibe, the people, and just in general. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, the way this is going to happen, Eric, is she's going to sit down and create her list. I'm going to sit down and create my list. And I'm thinking that each of us will have one veto. Okay, when we look at the well, no, that's only fair.
Yeah, but see, I already know the veto's Puebla, so I won't even put it on my list.
I get that, but we both look at our top 5, and okay, it's only fair that I'm not feeling that one, so you can quit arguing about that one. Boom, kick that out. And so no, and I ain't feeling it about that one, so kick that one out. So now we're down to 4 apiece, and I imagine out of the 4 apiece, I imagine 3 of those are going to be the same cities.
Probably. Which,
okay, that means the 2 outliers, there's a reason that one of us didn't put them on the list. And if one of us goes, oh shit, I forgot about that city. Maybe, then maybe it would. But I got a feeling it's probably going to come down to a conversation between the 3, and then we're just going to have to go.
Pick one.
Pick one.
I got to pick one. Rock, paper, scissors. What was the one where they do it with Spock? Star Trek.
Piece of shit on me because I never watched Star Trek.
No, they did it on Big Bang. Instead of rock, paper, scissors, it's something else. I'll have to look it up. We'll do it that way. We'll be all nerdy about it. And I know, Wilfredo, I know you're shooting for Querétaro. For sure.
You're not alone.
You're not the only one, I promise you.
Trust me, the girls are doing the same thing.
What are some of the cities you're visiting in the future? Okay.
Ajijic, Manzanillo, Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, and La Paz.
Did we miss anything? Nope. You got them all. And we're also going back to San Luis Potosí.
I mean, we're going back to revisiting San Luis because
we need more time.
It was a last minute addition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was never on our list.
And then we got there.
And then we got there.
Pleasantly surprised.
And we liked it and everything else. And all of a sudden, she had a computer die for work. And that was, if you want to get the whole detail, there's videos about it. And, but it took 10 days of figuring all that out. So we were there for a month. 10 days of it were stressful as hell.
And I wasn't there for at least a week of that month.
Right.
So we want to go back and give it a fair shake. I really liked San Luis Potosí. It's got a very European feel to it.
Very French feel.
Very French. And very walkable. Lots of modern amenities. There's a lot going for it. It's not difficult to drive through. The traffic's not horrendous.
Except for the honking.
Oh, the honking.
I'm just saying that's.
The airport's right there. I mean, there's a lot going for it. So we definitely need to give it another consideration.
Well, yeah, we're going to use that airport because.
Yes, I wonder if Mark didn't lose 15 pounds.
Oh, it's a distinct possibility.
Absolutely.
When
your cortisol levels go down, you tend to not hold on to that extra body fat. So,
quite honestly, Jesse, just being, it's amazing. The first day that we were on our own, I mean, the first day of being in Mexico, driving from Reynosa to Monterrey,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was stress, and Ernie's taking us to, the Auto Motel, the Kyoto, and we drive by and there's Ernie waving at us because we were in the wrong friggin' lane. And it's like, oh crap now. And I'm like, oh, I got this figured out. So we go up to the mall, turn around, come back. And then we figured out where we screwed up. But the second day when we drove, well, all right, the first morning wasn't stress-free because we had to get from Monterrey to Saltillo. And that was going up over the mountains and it was foggy as hell. I mean, it was so foggy, we could barely see.
Yeah.
And then we come down the mountain, but when we got to Saltillo and started driving from Saltillo to Zacatecas, we saw some of the most breathtaking high Sierra. And what was amazing was we drove for probably 5 hours, 6 hours, no music, no interruptions, because we had no signal. So my phone was like, nope.
Yep.
because I hadn't downloaded the thing. And we were just like, wow.
And it was really very pretty.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And but we both were like, was there stress? Yeah, because guess what? This shit's real now. We have crossed the border.
Yep.
We are getting ass deep into Mexico.
It's real.
It's real. But it also felt so good
Mhm.
to just go, this is happening. We can make this.
For real.
All
right, I'm going to move down here. So, Kelly, do not be embarrassed, please. We're so happy that you're here. Thank you for coming on. And you can always go back, and if you really, really want to, and you're that dedicated, you can always just meander through this.
Yeah, but you never know what kernels you may miss. I know.
Hey, David. Oh, I just got back from getting some El Pastor. Oh, I love it. I know Gina likes them too. Yes. Hola. And thank you for jumping on tonight.
Gracias.
Give a shout out to Mark and Paulette también. For sure. Oh, I just love El Pastor. And I like Arabes too, but he didn't care for the Arabes. So we need to make a group to go to Sierra Gorda for the weekend. Oh, Wilfredo, you might be too late to the game. Our weekends are pretty numbered at this point. We have so much we need to do. We've got eye doctors, dental things. We have to go to
2 weeks back in the U.S.
Yes, 2 weeks in the U.S.,
which is basically 3 weekends shot because it's 1 weekend traveling, 1 weekend there, 1 weekend traveling.
We have to go get the bank account. We got so much stuff we got to get done, and we are running out of time. Oh, and a trip to Mexico City for my birthday. So we are running out of time. I don't know. It'll be another one of those things we got to pick up maybe at another point in history. That's what I'm thinking. Off the resort, we'd be okay if you pick Querétaro. We like visiting there, so we'll have more friends there when we do. Haven't given Querétaro much time yet. Still really like Jalisco. Is that Jalisco?
I think it's Jalisco.
Jalisco and
Guadalajara.
And the Guadalajara region. We're going to be making our way, that way.
The other thing is, I know this really sounds stupid, but my cigars are right there. There's
an influencing factor right there. Cigars.
Hey, hold on.
We can get them shipped to us though.
I get that, but when you put all of the little things together, it's just, because that's literally what it's going to end up coming down to is the minute details. Because
I know. See here, you speak truth. There's nothing like having close friends when you move south of the border. There's nothing to replace it. And that is so true.
Well, but here's the thing.
We've made friends everywhere.
And
we have mostly.
And there are so many of you spread out all through Mexico that come see, let us know when you're going to be here, or and we met so many of you, and every one of them, these encounters have been so unbelievable.
Yep.
And we've now include all of you as friends, and it's just like, all right, this is not going to be an easy choice.
No, it's not. It's going to be very hard. And I know some people will be very disappointed, and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And it certainly will not have anything to do with negativity. Yes, we did order a lot through Amazon pretty regularly. We had a few deliveries. I got a pencil sharpener. Remember that? Got some makeup. Because, Huatulco, we didn't go. There really wasn't any nearby, like big shopping mall type things. The drugstores carry a limited supply of what they have.
You had Waldo's and Chedraui.
So when I needed makeup or anything like that, dry shampoo, stuff like that.
Now,
Amazon.
Your first place to go look though is Waldo's.
I would look at Waldo's for sure.
No, I'm telling them
Yeah.
to go look because Waldo's carries some really off the wall stuff.
It's like a big 5 and dime.
Yeah, I mean, oh, you know what? I'm really looking at doing some chicken breasts that I'm gonna put in the oven and bake. You know, oh, I'm having a hard time finding the right Italian dressing at Chedraui. Waldo's, boom. So you never know. They've got a lot of stuff in there.
They've got all kinds of plastics, all kinds of dinnerware, cookware, party supplies, cards, wrapping paper, all the things. I mean, it's literally like a giant 5 and dime. Yeah, I think. So.
Yeah, and the thing is if you're where I think you are, which I'm thinking that's probably the case,
we got this.
You're only about 6 blocks away, 3 blocks down to the light, and at the light you're going to take a left, go across the street, and there's Waldo's right there before you get to the bank. So if you need to go to an ATM, you've got the ATM here and Waldo's right there.
See, so okay, so also wants to go to Sierra Gorda. The problem is I don't have any free weekdays. I only have weekends, and we have a lot to do on the weekends.
I mean,
we're running out of weekends. I have yet to get to the dentist or an eye doctor. He's been to the dentist, but now it's been 3 weeks since you've been to the dentist at minimum, and we haven't heard anything. So
not yet. You know, and we do have a doctor's appointment for the eye doctors because we want to go see an ophthalmologist, which needs to be done because, well, let's be for real. Neither one of us are getting younger. And every once in a while, I think the last 10 years, both of us have only seen optometrists. So it's probably good. No, ophthalmology. You complain. I have a floater.
I do have a floater.
Okay.
And it's never gone away.
Okay.
So
those are reasons to go see an ophthalmologist.
Yeah, they are, because that could be a loosening of the optic nerve, which, yeah.
Okay. So, and here's the thing, Annie, Vet, and Arlene, they went to go see these people, and the cost for the visit, 150 pesos. The only other expense we pay are the glasses.
Incredible, right?
To go see an ophthalmologist. Yeah. And Annie was like, yeah, you go from this room to this room to this room to this room to this room that they check you for all this stuff. 150 pesos. $7.50. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I forgot about the whole floater situation. So.
I didn't.
Yeah, I know.
That's why you keep me around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to get my teeth looked at before we go someplace too. Oh, thank you guys. Place to lay our head when we come to Puerto Vallarta.
Speaking of which.
Wow.
Well, no. Do you have any connections in the building that you're in? Because we're starting to do some looking because it's not even a year till we get to PV. And we're having a hard time finding places that fit all of our criteria that are not stupid expensive. So if your host or hostess there has any inside information, reach out to us. You know where we're at.
For sure. Sure. Yeah. And Wilfredo has an optometrist appointment tomorrow at Costco.
Yeah.
Big deal. Yeah. And do you know if it's difficult to use a taxi to go to and from Waldo's? We really appreciate you. Taxis in Huatulco are easy.
Oh, God.
And very affordable. And you probably could just walk to Waldo's. It's really not that far. But if you want a taxi and you're going to carry things back from Waldo's, yeah,
it's a piece of cake.
It's a piece of cake. They're lined up on the street.
The first place they line up is at the street corner, right there at the light, and you'll have them on both sides. Some coming this way, some coming that way, and literally, you're going to sit there and go, hold on, I don't need a taxi. It's 6 blocks. Now if you're coming home with your arms full and everything,
Mm-hmm.
you walk out to the street, and if it's me, walk across the street,
Oh yeah.
because the street that you're on is heading out to the
It's heading
Carretera,
out. You want the
and,
one
and
coming back.
and it's heading down to the Chedraui, and then down to the beaches and the bahías. So you go across the street, and they're coming in, and you give a wave, and because a lot of them will have fares that go from in La Crucecita down to the bahías, and then if they can't pick up a fare, they'll come back. And so
yeah, and I think there's like a sector.
there is.
There, like because you know how they have all the different sectors with the different letters, and I think they charge the fare by what sector to what sector, things like that.
It's not bad.
No, it's not.
And it looks like from La Crucecita that it's a close walk down to the bahías. Let me tell you this. If you're gonna do it, go from Crucecita to the bahías versus in reverse, because in reverse, that hike up the hill, it's a bitch.
It's not fun, and it's going to take you at least 30 minutes.
Going down the hill
to walk that.
Walking over to Mazi Mezcal, going right around around the corner back there. Actually, you don't go to Mazi Mezcal because you'll get confused. Going around by Waldo's, and then you take that road, and there cuts off from there, and you go up a little bit, and then it's downhill from there all the way down to the bayou. And that all the way down is all the way up coming home. So if you're going to walk to the beach.
And that's why I like Guadalajara. Weather is decent. Plus, it's close to PV and some mountains.
Yeah. I mean, you literally, you're 5 hours to San Miguel in the Querétaro area. You're down, not that, you're 35, 40 minutes down to Ajijic. So, there's a lot to like there.
So I'm going to say no, because we don't know what that is. Do you? No, you'll have to tell us what that is, or I'll look it up later.
Or I'll have to check with the girls.
Yeah, I don't think we know what that is yet. I will say we got tickets to go see Chicago. What are you rolling your eyes for?
We come to Mexico and we go see Chicago.
Hey, Chicago's coming to Querétaro. I'm like, why not? Why not? Huh? Okay, in Germany, you had to usually buy your kitchen refrige, even if you rent. Yep, it's very rare for an apartment to have these. That must be a U.S. thing then, and it doesn't surprise me then that Mexico is often like Europe in these matters. So I'm used to, when you rent an apartment in the U.S., it comes with everything you need in the kitchen, basically.
Yeah, and depending, I mean, you can spend, 14,000 pesos on a fridge, or you can spend 25,000 pesos and up on a fridge. So it really depends. Measure the space before you buy the fridge, because
sure.
And number two, I look at this where we're at right now, and I wonder how did they get this refrigerator
this fridge
into this place? Because
I mean, you got to maneuver through all this back here and then around a corner, and don't know how they did it, but it's stuck in a space in such a manner that they put little foam padding on the sides.
I don't know how you pull it out.
So the doors don't hit.
I don't know how you pull it out to get behind it. I don't know if you can pull it all the way out to even move it, because I don't think there's enough space.
God, you're right. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
You're just now figuring that out, that I'm right.
Okay. We'll definitely put a couple feelers out with our landlord and other hosts. Thank you. Okay. Message dates. We sure will. And we'll see what we can get, because we really would like to stay off platform if at all possible.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, we're only planning on staying
2 months.
for 2 months. So
January 10th through March 14th.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out. I'll send those to you though, so that you have them in writing. But it's only going to be for like a 2-month stay. So if somebody's willing to just kind of like off platform with us,
Then right in the middle of it, we're going back to Ahihi. The meet and greet.
oh yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, what you talking about?
Ah.
I mean, you made me spill stuff on my boobies. What the heck?
Okay, shut up.
You're like throwing that out there. Hola de nuevo. Ha. After you visit Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, La Paz, you'll feel like getting out of the heat. You should consider a drive up the peninsula to visit me in Ensenada.
We're going to definitely go to Loreto.
Are we? Just for a visit?
Yeah, just for a visit.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, wait a minute, what about
About what?
San Pancho? Where's that close to?
Puerto Vallarta.
Okay.
That we were going to do that when we were in Sayulita, and then Sayulita got taken out. But we'll go see
Sean
Sean in Paradise, Sean and Astrid, more in PV because they're just to the north and up.
Okay. Good deal. All right. I Facebook messaged it to you when we went there right after the meetup. You probably have a link to the Google in your message from me. Oh, okay. You know what? I'll have to look. Here's the thing. I'm the social media person and I'm drowning. And I'm not over exaggerating with that.
If you want to take the pressure off of her, you can go onto the regular YouTube and do a comment. That gets to me. That's
because with this job, like even today, I worked an hour longer than I was supposed to, and then we had to scramble and get things ready for the live. So and of course, I haven't stuck a video out on our channel for 2 weekends now, and I might have it done by this weekend. Normally, we were putting a video out every week, and now it'll be 3 weeks between the videos.
all right.
So, it's simply because with me working, I just don't have the time.
And
yeah,
we're enjoying our lives a little bit. I mean, we're spending time with Annie, Bet, and Arlene, and you know what? We need to do that.
We do. But
I mean, we actually did karaoke till 4:04 in the morning. At midnight, we turned the mics off
and turned it down.
We turned the mics off, turned it down, and all of us were singing.
Did karaoke without mics.
Without mics. Just we're like, you know what?
We're just going to sing. Yeah.
We're just going to have fun and sing. And it has felt very good to almost have some, that whole evening. I mean, we started out having dinner with Claudia and Wilfredo.
Yep.
And then, and Annie, Bet, and Arlene. Then we went back to their house. And, there's now a Gringo room there. One of the bedrooms is basically the Gringo room.
Yeah, it's where we crash for the night or the morning.
But one of the things that we really have needed to do was recharge batteries because the go. We didn't realize how much that was really taking out of us until we got here. And it's suddenly 4 months in almost. And it's like.
But ultimately
she still hadn't even unpacked.
I haven't unpacked yet. We've been here 4 months and I have not unpacked yet. I mean, I work a 40-hour week. Sometimes it's more than that. And then, and I'm tired. And sometimes I'll come downstairs and I don't even have the energy to stay awake. And I'll start snoozing on the couch. I'll be sitting up like this and I'll be asleep for an hour or two. And then I get up and I go to bed. And so sometimes I don't work on anything with the channel. And when it comes to social media, well, now I'm following up on comments from Facebook. People private message me. I got Instagram. and occasionally email. And I try to keep up, but gosh, I found a message the other day. I felt so bad. Somebody sent me a message over 3 weeks ago, and I didn't see it till last night. So it's hard for me to keep up.
And the other thing is you have your regular Facebook with your friends of
which I really don't get on that much.
No, but I get that. But you still have, you take a peek at, because, when you reach a certain age, you sort of have to pay attention, because, somebody may have to talk about, oh, there's been a passing.
Yeah, somebody passes.
I mean,
like today, Bill said that his mom passed away.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about is, all of us have friends that are reaching a certain age, and you go, all right, let me just look. I don't have to post anything, but it takes time to look.
I'm gonna try to get through these, because we're pushing over 3 hours now. So, whoa, don't lose the light, Gina. I'm with you on wanting to close the airport. I might keep working for a bit. So you need an airport. You need an airport, right? Yeah, to fly to work, do some traveling, and you don't want to struggle with that. And if you still have family or friends that you want to go visit and things like that, having an airport nearby is pretty important. But especially if you have to fly back to Canada or the United States, and you need to do things like, I don't know, get a company assigned laptop.
Do a drug test.
Because you cannot ship that into Mexico without a huge hassle.
Oh God, no. And and you can't ship pee across the border for the drug test.
I mean, for God's sake, guys, I ordered body butter a month ago. It's been sitting with UPS in Mexico City for 3 freaking weeks.
Yep.
They wanted my RFC. Here's the stupid thing. I provided the RFC at the time I placed the order. So they had it. Well, maybe the company that I placed the order with didn't provide it. I don't know. So I had to get a friend to call and tell UPS what my RFC was.
And dirección.
And it has still been sitting there every single day. They scan it. Every day they scan it.
And it ain't moved it.
And it has not left Mexico City in 10 days since they got the information they needed. And, this is the way it is. And so trust me, that's body butter. Imagine an electronic.
And Kelly, one of the things that we did is we actually created a spreadsheet before, when we decided we're going to make this happen. We created a spreadsheet, and on that spreadsheet were these are musts. And then there were, this is data, but the musts, how's the hospital situation? How's the airport? It's got to have an international airport. And we loved Valladolid because there was a great vibe there and everything else. But it was
cute.
It was 50 minutes closest to get to an airport because Valladolid doesn't have it. Gone.
I mean, your choice was to either go to, what was it?
Cancun. You either went to Cancun or Merida. Those are your choices.
Pick one. So
so but create the list that has all of the things, hospital, and airport, and I'm trying to remember, what's the population, and those are things that we started looking at going, because do we want to live in Mexico City with 21 million people? No. Do we really want to live in a city like Guadalajara with 4 million people? Possibly, but we're now pushing. You're going 4 million people. That's half the size of New York. I mean,
possibly. Well, you don't know.
Neither one of us has ever. Yes, I got him. Neither one of us. The bug. I got him.
Okay.
Neither one of us has been in the city much over 1 million people. I mean, Pittsburgh was right at about 1 million. Charlotte, right at about 1 million. And now we're sitting here in Querétaro pushing 2 million here in Querétaro. And it's like.
And it's busy here.
It's busy. And
sometimes traffic takes you.
And there's a couple places we have now learned that traffic wise, you don't want to be in this part of the city at this time of day because it goes nowhere.
Yeah. All right. Moving along. All right. Weather here is surprising a lot of people for a beach town. It rarely gets above the mid to high 80s. It's only 65. Great sleeping weather.
Ensenada.
That's pretty cool. Are we anywhere near Ensenada? Are we going to do
No.
that? Oh.
I think Ensenada, if I remember right, is in BC, not even BCS.
So we would have to do a day trip. I think we looked at it at one point, and
I think we did.
yeah. And I saw that, Shane. Thank you. I saw it. I'll try to get to it. Oh Lord. How long does it take to create a video? It sounds like a part-time job.
Full time.
It's a full-time job, and that is the truth. Now you could do
the part-time job is my role.
That's his role. When he does,
That's full time. This is
comments-
part time. That's full time.
I mean, first you have to record the video. And if you're just doing a sit down and just talk, like we're doing this live kind of thing, you probably don't have a whole lot of edits that you have to do. But at the very least, you would have to, if you want to use an intro and an outro, you got to add those in. You would probably want to have a couple of like lower thirds type title things, like this banner that's across the bottom here. Maybe when we say our name, maybe when we mention something. If we have any possible extraneous videos that might illustrate what we're talking about, all that stuff has to be edited in. And a 30-minute video, for example, 20 minutes, I want to try to keep them around 20, but a 20 to 30-minute video with all that will take me about 20 hours to do. And part of that 20 hours is the edit, the subtitles, the thumbnail. Thumbnail can take a while too. All that stuff. Then you upload it all onto YouTube, and then you have to double check those subtitles again because sometimes they're out of sync and kind of wonky. You have to put in SEO tags and details and all kinds of junk so that it gets ranked high in video searches. I translate the subtitles to about, I don't know, it actually comes out to like 24 languages, but that's a misnomer because there may be, I think it's 5 or 6 versions of Spanish, maybe 3 versions of Portuguese, 3 or 4 versions of German. I mean, but if I see that there's an audience that speaks this language that has been watching it, then I will put it in that language for them in subtitles. So yeah, a 20 to 30-minute video is about a 20-hour job. Now, if I do a video like we did on Puebla, where I'm pulling in what was essentially 2.5 hours of video clips that I had to trim down to try to make a 30-minute video, that took a full 40-hour week to do that video. For sure. And that, because now I'm also doing all those edits, all those overlays, music, all that stuff.
And that didn't include the fact that, guess what? To get 2.5 hours of video, it takes 2.5 hours at least
to shoot the video.
And in the case of like Puebla, we were actually, we went to 2 different cities. We hiked. We went up to the top of the hill.
I did.
No.
The first one.
The first one. Yeah, thank you. Second one, it was like, all right, first of all, you want to walk out on a glass platform, have fun.
The glass mirador, it was awesome.
No, not happening. Oh, gee, there's a vendor down here selling a Coke and I can have a puro and un coca. Yeah. Bye, baby. I'll be right here.
I had a good time.
What? You're going to go up there to walk into a church?
Yeah, it was cool.
Okay.
And the church wasn't open.
Okay.
But I can say I did it.
Okay. When I walk up there to sit out there and go, I'm not even going to go in the church.
He doesn't. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot. It is. And I don't want to get to the point where we start sounding like some other. Oh
yeah. Let's not go there.
I'm not going there.
I enjoy doing it. It's just since I got this job, which we really needed for me to have, since I've gotten this job, it's been harder and harder to keep to that schedule. And so I've been slipping, and I haven't been putting videos out weekly. It went to like every other week, and then it was
and you
2
know what?
weeks.
In her passions, all right, she's passionate, period. If the passion's not there, it ain't happening. The passion suddenly got onto, you know what? We're doing karaoke.
Okay, look.
No, you can't deny this. She's been sitting over there and she's going through all the karaoke and she's going, oh shit, because she found a new toy that's been able to. She's been able to take karaoke, song tracks.
I can take
and make
any
karaoke
song in the world and use artificial intelligence to break apart that song by voice, by instrument, by percussion.
Which, you know what?
So I can make any song in the world that's never been able to be available as a karaoke track is now. I have everything at my fingertips. Just say.
And one of the things is you know what? Guess what? If anybody's entitled to the break, it's her.
Thanks. I'm number one.
So, I look at it and go, we have 5.5 more months. I mean, no, we're not going to make you wait 5.5 months.
No.
But
I actually do have half the video done.
I know you do.
For the culture shock.
You're playing with it and everything else. But one of the things is we never, well, we did. It was called San Cristobal de las Casas because we couldn't upload anything really if we wanted to up there because their video, I mean, their
the
internet was
bad.
so bad. And we sort of really enjoyed let me get in this rocker and sit out here. Got to put a jacket on.
So I think that's basically what he's saying is I've never really had a break.
Right. And now she's getting pushed by work and this and her release it used to be was I'm gonna plow into a video. Now it's sort of I get to listen to all these songs that I haven't, and songs mean a lot to her. Music is very important to her. And I know she's happy when she's singing.
I cannot wait to do karaoke to the Who's 905. That is my goal. I'm going to do 905.
I've done the 515.
I know.
And
I'm going to do 905.
Okay.
Old John Entwistle. I love him so much. And that song is it's my favorite song.
Yes, and actually, Laura, one of the biggest things is 2.5 years. Well, oh God, no, over 3 years in now
doing
videos is the creativity. And no, we've got a whole list literally because sometimes we'll be sitting at a restaurant, we'll be driving in a car, and one of us will come up with an idea and go, ooh.
And I write it down.
And she puts a note on her phone and goes, okay, and so but it is, we were in a pattern of being able to go to a city and go, we've got Airbnb,
yep,
we got First Impressions,
yep,
we got whatever it is that's around this area, and we got cost of living. And boom, 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 boom. Then we get to Querétaro, and we're going, all right, we've already been here.
We've already been here. We've already done this and this and this. But I still have the Airbnb.
And we still have the Airbnb, but the first one's going to be the culture shock from going back to since both of us went back to the U.S. And, there's a couple of things that I can do to help her out.
Thank you.
And one of them is when she gets burned out, I do a solo, and just give her, because when I do a solo, it's very easy for her because it's one camera. It's normally 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of like
and that's like
and here for realistic expectations, that 10-minute quick solo video will still take me 4 hours to do.
Yeah,
but
it's not 20.
But it's not 20 and it's not 40. So
they also tend to do well.
They do. I don't know. People like you more. I think you're I think you're eye candy.
Well, yeah.
Oh, Shane. Yeah, I haven't been able to motivate myself to make any more in quite a while. It is so much work. I know people just don't, unless you do it, you just don't know. And so I feel bad because really this will be like, it'll be 3 weeks since the last one when I do another one.
Well, we've
But-
done 2 in March. We need to get 1 to the end of March because
Yeah.
we have a birthday party coming up, and that's going to be
Yes,
ain't much going to happen that weekend. I can tell
it
you
is.
that.
Yes, Jesse, it is 60 to 70 hours a week if I stick to
Minimum.
that video schedule while I'm working.
And that's
Yeah.
not including the 20 hours she's going to put in doing karaoke songs. I'm being for real. I mean, I go to bed normally 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
This has only happened a couple times. Don't make it sound like it's all the time.
No, but normally I beat you to bed.
Normally he does.
You know, and normally I'm still awake when she gets to bed because I read. I go up there and I read for a couple hours. And like last night I read till 2, you know.
Right.
You know, but you know, so it's my passion. I go up there and I read, and
I mean, think of it. I mean, you got to look at it this way. I left three. I left 3 guitars in storage. One of them I will never play though, but I left both of my acoustic guitars in storage. I don't even have my guitars to play. I don't have my songbooks. I don't have my record player or my records. I don't have anything.
No, and folks, let me tell you something. I knew I hit gold early, but I knew I hit platinum when I woke up one morning and she's down there on her guitar and she's playing Over the Hills and Far Away. And it's
By
like,
Led Zeppelin.
it's like, ding,
Ding,
ding, ding, ding. And I'm going, no fucking way.
Yahweh.
And it's like,
I've been playing that song since high school.
I'm like,
I learned it by ear. Oh yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I miss doing all those things, so at least I get a little bit of fun out of the karaoke. Oh, thank you. I think I went back. I'm so sorry. I'm bouncing around now. I think you should go to Guanajuato because you're an artist. It looks so beautiful and has great weather. I
got a feeling, Bill.
I wanted
Bill
to
and
go
Trish.
there.
That's going to be one of those that we're going to get there
From a different side.
But it may not be a month. I mean,
it might be a week.
It might be a week or a weekend or
just to see it.
Yeah,
for sure. Look, it's our friends Anivet in Arlene. Hola, Gringos, desde Estado de Mexico.
They're still in the State of Mexico.
I see that. Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that you had to go to Mexico and why. So I hope everything is better. We'll talk later. And everyone, love the Sean Connery look.
Well, if I put a tube on, I could do the whole,
that bastard.
No. The Ramius from
oh, do not. No.
From I'm Hunt for Red October.
Oh, that's true.
The beard.
How about
yeah, but
Look, he was hot in Medicine Man with all that hair in the ponytail. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I ain't never had hair enough to get to a ponytail, so.
Oh, he was hot in Medicine Man. I like that movie. Oh.
And we went to the place where they actually filmed that. So
that's true. It's in Mexico here.
Yes, it was filmed in the state of Veracruz.
Yes.
And I've never felt a lake that felt like bathwater until
Catemaco.
We were on that lake.
Yeah.
And that was the day. You see how this is now all this color? That was the day it all turned that color because this whole hat had turned that color.
It was hot.
Because I could not believe how much I was sweating.
It was hot. And he's right. That lake was like bath. The lake was
like bathwater.
That's the place where you can go and you can see the monkeys.
The Monkey Island.
Monkey Island, and there's a nature preserve, and that nature preserve is where they filmed Medicine Man.
Yep.
So, anyone considering a city move, you should have the basic weather app,
Yep.
and Google Maps to check out the neighborhoods where you can walk easily for most everything you need. I agree.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, I could have walked to HEB today, but I'm just lazy. Hey.
But you were carrying stuff back, and you don't want to carry. He bought 8 bottles of Coke.
How to get through the week?
So yeah, that would have been a lot to carry back. So
Well,
you would not have done that walk. All right, guys, we are wrapping it up. It is almost 3.5 hours. My goodness. We love you guys so much for hanging around this long. It seems like the time flies, but I still cannot fathom sitting for 3.5 hours watching people talk on YouTube. I don't know. We're so appreciative that you're here, and thank you so much. So
it literally is just like we're sitting at Arlene and Annie Vet's bar, and we're talking with friends and
that's it.
having a few beers and going, hey, let's shoot the shit. So
Oh, you made it. Wait, are you back? You're back from Mexico City now. So we're gonna talk.
Yes.
We're going to talk. We'll catch up and find out what's up. Okay. That's it. That's it, fellow gringos and gringas, friends and familia.
Dos semanas.
2 semanas. 2 weeks.
Yep.
I'll give him some more of this. And 2 weeks. Thanks, guys. We love you. We appreciate
it.
And we'll see you in a couple. Have a good evening and the rest of the week. And I'm really hoping I will have the culture shock video out this Saturday. Thumbs up.
If we're lucky.
Bye.
Adios.
Oh, they're still there. Bye.